Right, okay, we're back again with part two. Welcome back. Mayor's question time with Sadiq Khan. We're back for part two. They're adjourned at the moment. We're just going to see, well, what they have to say. We're just waiting for him to come back, which should be any minute now. Welcome along. Don't forget to please like and subscribe. Come and join the chat. You're gonna be, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. You can join the chat and you'll be in straight away. There's no waiting time on that, okay? So we've got a couple of minutes to go. So I'll pass it over and we just wait for them to come back. Literally got 2 minutes, okay? So bear with us and we will be continuing the coverage. Sorry for the delay. They should be starting any minute now. They're 5 minutes late now. So any second that we'll be back to it. Right, looks like they're just about to get started again, guys, okay?
Welcome back to the London Assembly's final draft budget meeting. The Assembly will now move to debate and consider the final draft consolidated budget for 2026-27 and formal budget amendments. I will hand over to the clerk who will confirm which documents have been tabled and explain the procedural rules which apply to this section of the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. The Assembly is under a duty to consider the final draft consolidated budget and to approve it with or without amendment in accordance with paragraphs 8, 3 and 7 of Schedule 6 of the GLA Act 1999. At the final draft budget stage, a two-thirds majority of members present and voting must vote in favour of a formal budget amendment in order for an amendment to be carried and to amend the final draft budget. Abstentions are not counted. In accordance with Standing Order 6.6e, voting on all and any formal budget amendments at this stage is by named vote. This means that each Assembly member present will be asked in alphabetical order to declare how they wish to cast their vote, i.e. for or against, and any formal budget amendments, or whether they wish to abstain. In accordance with Standing Order 6.12f, there is now going to be one debate covering the substantive motion set out in the agenda, any amendments to that motion which have come forward at this stage, and any budget-related motions which have come forward at this stage. I can confirm that Assembly members have 7 budget amendments and 5 budget-related motions before them. Any budget amendments must amend the statutory figures that make up the consolidated budget requirement in the GLA Act, otherwise the statement is a budget-related motion. The Chair will shortly invite members to move and second the budget amendments have been tabled, and then to move and second the budget-related motions. And I'm just going to confirm the order of those, Chair. So the first amendment to be moved is the amendment in the name of Assembly Member Garrett. The second amendment to be moved is the amendment in the name of Assemblymember Bakari. The third amendment to be moved is in the name of Assemblymember Prince, and it's entitled Toilets for Bus Drivers. The fourth amendment to be moved is in the name of Assemblymember Wilson, and it's entitled Knife Crime in London. The fifth amendment to be moved is in the name of Assemblymember Russell. The sixth amendment to be moved is in the name of Assemblymember Prince, and it's entitled Reopening Broadmead Bridge. The seventh amendment to be moved will be the amendment in the name of Assemblymember Wilson, and it's entitled Saving Police Front Desks in London. The budget-related motions will be moved in the order submitted. And the other thing is agreed by the requisite majority when we get to the voting, then I will suggest that we adjourn briefly and we'll talk about the consequences of an additional budget amendment being agreed at that stage. But otherwise, let's just we move on with moving and seconding, Chair.
Thank you. I'll now invite members to move and second the formal budget amendments in the orders set out by the clerk, and then any budget related motions in the order received. And I'd just like to remind Assembly members, this is a procedural issue, but we can only really discuss motions on the table that have been moved. So I know that's a strange thing to say, but if you're going to talk on some other amendment that hasn't yet been moved, I'd rather you didn't. And we dealt with that at the time. The first amendment to be moved is in the name of Assemblymember Garrett.
Thank you, Chair. So what is the toughest pub quiz in London? Anyone know? No. To name all of the deputy mayors. Oh. Can anyone do that, do we think? I'll give you half a mark for knowing that there are 9, each costing around £200,000 in salary and benefits, not counting any personal support staff. But this, when we look closely, is barely the start of the waste at City Hall. So since we're here today on Budget Day, let's lift the lid on the waste and the misplaced priorities, and let's imagine how things could be better and more focused outside this building on a better London for Londoners. In Mayor Johnson's last budget, I know the Mayor over the last 2 days has taken to these history lessons, so I thought I would help the Labour Party out since they're big fans of them. In Mayor Johnson's last City Hall budget, the one that Mayor Khan inherited, the City Hall staff budget was £36 million, which seems like quite a lot of money, I suspect, to most people, because that doesn't include any police officers or firefighters or transport workers. It is purely the Mayor's HQ team. Under Khan, that has ballooned to 122 million from 36. If it had just gone up by inflation even, it would be about 50-odd million. And that doesn't take account of the additional responsibilities, things like adult education budget. Those are their own separate budget. And when you think about the scandals at the Met Police and the tube graffiti that no one ever seems to be able to clear and the crisis in London housing, I do think Londoners might start to wonder what all of those people are doing and whether all of that money is being spent as well as it could be to deliver for Londoners. And yet, of course, the Mayor's demands for money, his insatiable money-devouring machine, continues much as it ever did, even though the Labour government is not quite as generous as perhaps he might have led us to believe a couple of years ago. As, of course, is the Mayor's commitment to cranking up his share of Londoners' council tax. If this budget goes through, it will, for the first time, a bandee in London will be paying more than £500 just for the mayoral part of their council tax. £510 for a bandee property. That's up 80% since Mayor Khan took office. And I think Londoners will wonder how on earth he justifies that. It might be that the Mayor has forgotten about the cost of living crisis, but I don't think Londoners have forgotten about it. But here is some good news, my friends. The Conservative alternative budget helps Londoners cope with the cost of living while using the City Hall money that we already have to tackle some real problems that Londoners face. For starters, I would say, wouldn't you agree, 5 deputy mayors is enough for anyone. There were 10. One left in 2024. The fire deputy mayor, apparently entirely surplus to requirements, has not been replaced. There doesn't seem to be any plan to replace that deputy mayor. We're proposing that we could repeat that 4 more times and have 5 deputy mayors with a straightforward saving of more than £1 million. Before we even look at the overstaffing at TfL HQ and in the rest of City Hall, but with those savings, what are some of the things that we might do differently that Londoners might think are more important to their lives? Well, our top priority, I think it's no surprise, is getting a grip of the Met Police, and in particular, getting a grip of the fact, just as a reminder to Labour colleagues opposite, 2,000 lost police officers since Labour won the election less than 2 years ago. Mayor said 1,300. Extra police, reality, 2,000 fewer police. We've seen cuts to everything from front counters, royal parks, you name it. If it's in the Met Police, it's probably getting cut under a Labour government, a Labour mayor, so many Labour councils, all these Labour Assembly members who are voting for all of this, of course. We've seen knife point robbery double under Khan. We've seen mobile phone theft out of control. More than a year ago, I asked the mayor about mobile phone theft. I'm sure you remember it well, because he breezily dismissed it. He had a 16,000-word proposed police and crime plan, didn't even mention it. Not until I started banging on about it and eventually a token element arrived. I produced a report in February. You'll notice the mayor seems to have finally, a year later, read my report and is implementing some of its ideas. So I hope he's listening today, because we've got some more ideas. Londoners deserve a City Hall that makes their safety a priority, and that's what Conservatives will deliver. You should listen to this, Bassam. You might learn something. Our amendment puts 22 million straight back into frontline policing. And while we're making our streets safe, let's also tackle some potholes. Whether you're on a bike or a bus or a car or even an Uber or a taxi, London's roads are getting beyond a joke. Stretched councils need help. They're coping with a lot of statutory pressures that we do not have here. Our budget amendment proposes £15 million pothole fund, but here's the good news, ladies and gentlemen. Because we're funding that from recurring savings, that is £15 million pothole funding for London every single year. So London councils would have the confidence of a long-term financial plan, long-term predictable funding that will allow them to plan and will allow them to deliver smoother roads across London. Speaking of long-term secure funding, Does anyone remember the UK Shared Prosperity Fund? This was a significant amount of money that London used to get under the Conservative government, making good on our commitment post-Brexit to replace EU funding. City Hall used to get 55 or 60 million pounds a year. It ends in a few weeks' time. Have you noticed that no one from Labour is talking about their replacement for it? Have you noticed that? That's because they have simply cut the money. It's gone straight out of the window. 60 million pounds of Labour cuts to the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, which the Mayor never mentions. This lot over here somehow keep forgetting. What you may have noticed, if you've read the Mayor's budget closely, he's quietly putting 10 million quid of that back in, going into the team that helps him with his overseas jollies. That appears to be where he is seeing his priority, not supporting business in London, which is what the UK Shared Prosperity Fund did, which the Conservative government funded, which the Labour government, among many other things, young people's jobs, hospitality, they're all being cut, police officers cut, business support through the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, also cut by Labour. But, good news, we're offering you a choice. So while putting money back in Londoners' pockets, making our streets safer, making our streets smoother, the Conservative alternative budget will protect every other city, every City Hall service, from buses and Boris bikes to fire and affordable housing. I know some of the people opposite like to pick a random thing and pretend we don't support it. Have a close look. I know you're chatting amongst yourselves. Have a close look what's in here. You will notice all the things that you like to stand up and lie about us not supporting. They're all in there. Exactly. It's all in there. I'm sure you're noticing that, and you won't be saying otherwise in your speeches in just a moment. Our budget recognises the pressure on Londoners' finances. It does away with council tax increase, putting money back in Londoners' pockets, protecting all of the services that we have, additionally a long-term secure plan for smoothing out our roads, additionally money for police. Many other benefits you will see in the detail, no tax rises, no raiding the reserves, a total focus on making life in London better. Now, I have a sneaky feeling that some of the people opposite might not be supporting our amendment. So what I would say to Londoners, when in a few weeks' time they get their council bill, have a look at that bit of your council tax bill that goes to the Mayor, the GLA mayoral precept, and ask yourself whether that ever-growing slice, up 80% since Khan came, whether you think that is value for money. Do Londoners think that is value for money? Do Londoners think that is worth the 80% increase that he has imposed on them? Or do Londoners think maybe there are some things in their own life, if they were allowed to keep that money, that they would rather spend it on? I have a feeling that if we let Londoners choose, they probably wouldn't choose a whole army of deputy mayors, a whole army of staff. They probably would find a better way to spend it. The Conservative amendment shows we can deliver all the services and put money back in Londoners' pockets. It's a fantastic amendment, and I look forward to you all supporting it. Thank you, Chair.
Can I call on Assembly Member Best to second, please?
Can I second, Chair, and formally reserve my right?
Thank you. We next go to the motion in the name of Assembly Member Bakari. Sorry, but everyone's having a problem with names today, aren't they? Assembly Member Bakari.
I honestly cannot believe I'm actually standing here presenting this again. This Assembly has already passed not one but two motions calling for a disability equality champion for London, and yet still nothing has been implemented. This is not a radical proposal, and it's not expensive. It is one senior salaried post with lived experience, and that's the key, tasked with making sure that co-production with deaf and disabled communities actually happen here in City Hall. Now, deaf and disabled people organisations have repeatedly and consistently and explicitly asked for this role. And yet Labour continues to say the status quo is good enough. How is it good enough? When we see accessible housing targets being missed by a country mile, and the Deputy Mayor of Housing doesn't even have a clue on the data, or when we see the move to step-free access happening at an absolute snail's pace. Labour's own budget motion last month made it clear that we needed to move faster on this. And when we see inaccessible public consultations launched without easy read or BSL, that's why disabled Londoners feel they cannot participate at the point of decisions are being made. And the defence we keep hearing is, we already have a deputy mayor with this in their portfolio. That's not the same thing. A very broad equalities brief is not dedicated, accountable, focused leadership. It's not co-production. It's not lived experience. And it's not proper mandate for change. And you know what really infuriates me? Disabled Londoners are expected to give up their time, their expertise and their lived experience for free over and over again to patch gaps in policy design. That's not partnership, that's exploitation. And it's about time that we put an end to it. Hire someone.
Right, apologies. Let me go back. I'm going to restart this. Carry on, yeah. We will be with them. So give me 2 seconds. I'll just take it back a couple of minutes. Hold on. There's something going on with the internet today, so apologies for that. Right, let's get back to it.
Not expensive. It is one senior salaried post with lived experience, and that's the key, tasked with making sure that co-production with deaf and disabled communities actually happen here in City Hall. Now, deaf and disabled people organisations have repeatedly and consistently and explicitly asked for this role. And yet Labour continues to say the status quo is good enough. How is it good enough? When we see accessible housing targets being missed by a country mile, and the Deputy Mayor of Housing doesn't even have a clue on the data, or when we see the move to step-free access happening at an absolute snail's pace. Labour's own budget motion last month made it clear that we needed to move faster on this. And when we see inaccessible public consultations launched without easy read or BSL, that's why disabled Londoners feel they cannot participate at the point of decisions are being made. And the defence we keep hearing is, we already have a deputy mayor with this in their portfolio. That's not the same thing. A very broad equalities brief is not dedicated, accountable, focused leadership. It's not co-production. It's not lived experience. And it's not proper mandate for change. And you know what really infuriates me? Disabled Londoners are expected to give up their time, their expertise and their lived experience for free over and over again to patch gaps in policy design. That's not partnership, that's exploitation. And it's about time that we put an end to it. Hire someone, put them on the payroll and hold them accountable for deliverable real change, That's what this amendment does. It funds a post with a real mandate, real authority, real accountability to build a proper model of co-production and focus on the areas where London is letting disabled people down. So I ask colleagues and Labour colleagues in particular, I am looking at you even though you're busy looking at your laptops, thank you very much. I do ask you, Labour colleagues, because they are the only ones here who seem to be thinking that the status quo here is just fine. What is the harm and what is the risk? One post for 2 years of funding, clear accountability and Assembly oversight. Such a small step that could make a large difference. And as an Assembly, we said twice already that we would do this. It's time to mean it and it's time to fund it. And I hope that I won't need to come back here next year and repeat the same arguments. Let's just get this done. We all know that this is a sensible idea, and can we please get on with it and not waste another year with no action, no representation and no focus on progress, and we should be making the deaf and disabled Londoners feel included.
Assembly Member Roberts to second, please. Thank you very much. The next amendment is going to be proposed in the name of Assembly Member Prince, and it's the one concerning toilets for bus drivers.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me just reassure you that the Reform haven't put in 4 amendments so that we can speak for 40 minutes. We will be a bit shorter on each one. Indeed, 39 actually. So, toilets. Well, we speak a lot about bus drivers and the unfair deal that they have, and the fact that 25% of routes end without a toilet. Virtually every member has, in their time, supported the cross-party agreement that this is unacceptable. Well, today we give you the opportunity to vote for a motion that is fully funded, that will give dignity back to our bus drivers. It's not acceptable that they have to beg other providers to allow them to use the toilets. It's not acceptable that they have to use drinks bottles while they're driving, or having to pull over and do that. It's just completely undignified. So I'm asking everybody here today to put aside their politics, put aside any false loyalty to any one particular party, and actually give back to the drivers of London, our very, very necessary public servants, give back their dignity and to support this amendment. Thank you.
Assembly Member Wilson to second, please.
Thank you, Chair. I second and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. The next amendment is from Assembly Member Wilson, and it concerns knife crime.
Thank you, Chair. Can I first say how pleased I am that this year we, the Reform UK group, as a group, is able to take a full and proper part in this budget process. As my colleague has said, however, although we've submitted 4 separate amendments, we're not intending to speak for an hour on each, or certainly not on each, but not even in total. Because whilst we've just heard how passionate Keith is about the subject of bus driver toilets, I think for us to talk for longer than is necessary would be taking the pee. Oh. Now, as members may remember, at last month's budget plenary meeting, I highlighted the fact that our wonderful city faces some grave challenges. The Mayor keeps telling us that to even mention these is to talk London down. I say it is to recognise that our city, for all its strengths, of which there are many, is not perfect and it needs improvement, and as I said last time, perhaps it needs reform. But as a reminder, I noted that it's harder than ever to get on the property ladder for either purchase or rent, with the most congested city in Europe, and key road infrastructure assets are crumbling before our very eyes. But most importantly, policing is in retreat, and across a whole range of volume crimes that affect thousands of Londoners on a daily basis. Under this Mayor, the figures are up. I also noted that the Mayor's draft budget fell well short of addressing these crucial problems. No provision for repairing that crumbling road infrastructure, and continues to see drivers as purely a cash cow rather than a fundamental part of our economy and society. and it doesn't save the police station front counter desks, of which more later, or provide those 1,300 new police officers we were promised in the 2024 election. And, of course, it doesn't save the Parks Police or the Safer Schools officers either. Now, since that last meeting, when he found that magic pot of extra money, over £140 million, he had a chance to think again. As we know from the GLA's own YouGov polling, 59% of Londoners say that tackling crime and making London safer is the top priority for them. But only 13% think the Mayor shares that priority. He had an opportunity to bridge that gap. He could have prioritised all, or at least most, of that extra funding for the police. But instead, we have such delights as an AI task force, a major events fund, Swimmable London, fares innovation, which I expect will simply end up gold-plating the TfL honesty box that so many fare dodgers already treat with contempt. Now, I have some issues with the way this whole convoluted process works, with this extra cash coming out of nowhere, to the extent that over a third of the GLA Mayor component is now revealed at the last minute with very little detail to back it up. Well, we've had to work on our amendments based on earlier information, but be that as it may, I guess I just have to suck it up as one of the vicissitudes of this august body we all find ourselves part of. Now, back in January, I said we would present some proposals today, so here goes. We've split our suggestions into 4 separate amendments so colleagues can happily take a view on each as a standalone offer to London. Of course, I recognise there are limits to what we can achieve today. We can't change the world with a handful of budget amendments, but what we can do is show Londoners what our key priorities are. And for Reform UK London, policing and safety will always come first. So that brings me on to our second amendment. So almost 600 extra police officers. That's extra police officers, not redeployments, with a laser-like focus on tackling knife crime by putting Operation Sceptre, which is currently a 1-week programme twice yearly, on a more permanent footing. That would boost police presence and increase targeted stop and search. It would make more and better use of weapon sweeps and knife archers. It would work in partnership with schools and community groups. But above all, that laser-like priority, get these dangerous weapons off our streets. And we fund it by reversing the increase in City Hall headcount since Sadiq became Mayor in 2016. In that time, the headcount has almost doubled. But are outcomes for Londoners twice as good? Of course they're not. And nowhere is that clearer than in Londoners' fear of crime. However the Mayor chooses to cherry-pick the stats, his record speaks for itself. Knife crime up at least a third on his watch. I don't remember anyone complaining under Boris that London was undergoverned, but I do hear complaints every day that London is now under-policed. The Labour government's catastrophic mismanagement of the economy has forced private sector businesses to make tough choices, and it's only fair the public sector must do the same. So this amendment, it takes full account of any necessary redundancy payments, and it delivers a full £46 million annual saving from year 2 and beyond, and that's what goes into funding those extra police officers. So, colleagues, I invite you to join me in backing this amendment. It's a question of priorities. Do we prioritise bloated city government, or do we prioritise keeping our streets safe? I know which way my group will be voting. Thank you.
And Assembly Member Prince to second, please.
I so second, Chair, and reserve my right. Thank you.
Thank you. The next motion is proposed by Assembly Member Russell, please.
So many bits of paper today. Okay, thank you very much, Chair. And colleagues, you will see from the papers that we've shared that our amendment has not substantially changed. We still think these are very good ideas, and we're still hopeful that you will support them. With the final draft budget, while the Mayor has now allocated newly released funding from business rates, there remains a problem on recurring funding. London faces a number of long-term challenges, and the Mayor should consider how better to plan to fund long-term investment, rather than adding a series of one-off funding pots with only a single-line description of their purpose. So, as before, our amendment puts forward practical, fully funded ideas that can be actioned within the current financial situation. We are again spending £1.35 million coming from reserves and unapplied revenue grants, and we're reprioritising £10 million from the increase in council tax given to the MOPAC budget. My colleague, Assembly Member Garbett, will second our amendment and speak to reprioritising some of the MOPAC budget and our plans to help London renters. So, our amendment. We still think the Mayor needs to plan to support legal action against Heathrow Airport. Not everyone in the Chamber will be against expansion, but we know the Mayor always has been, and he's previously joined legal action against expansion. And for this, he needs to plan his resources in these straitened times so that he's not forced to take last minute to take money from TfL, who agreed to fund his last legal action. Now, last January, you unanimously supported the call for the Mayor to assign funds to fight Heathrow expansion, and I hope you still agree. To remind you, our amendment would ring-fence £500,000 from the Climate Change Reserve, initially for expert staffing resource to compile the evidence needed to support a legal challenge and to run through public engagement on the issue. And then the fourth part of our amendment. Transport Committee colleagues all know my specific interest in improving public accessibility on our transport system, with particular reference to toilets. The whole committee, led by the Chair, Assembly Member Baker, spent time across 2 years on a detailed investigation into transport accessibility. Our amendment puts forward £500,000 for Transport for London to review how accessible our transport system really is, using the Transport for All supported metric, the APTAL. Now, APTAL rates are not just how accessible not just how accessible transport is in terms of the distance from where you live to get to a station or a bus stop, but the actual physical accessibility of the station or stop once you actually get there. Now, it would more highly rate places with step-free access from pavement to train, and it would flag reduced accessibility like stops with no toilets or stations that are often overcrowded. And so the final part of our amendment provides a further £500,000 to improve TfL modelling by accommodating this change and bringing in APTAL to TfL's thinking and modelling. TfL would have better information to inform planning decisions, investment decisions, and when it comes to the London plan, and accessibility could be embedded in all transport proposals and funding from the very start. So our proposed £500,000 investment from the Climate Change Reserve would therefore fund TfL to review London's PTAL modelling, improve real-life accessibility and enable more public transport journeys. I think this is probably compatible with the Lib Dem amendment. Thank you for your time, colleagues. I hope you will give this amendment serious consideration, and I now hand to my colleague, Assembly Member Garbett, who is going to second the amendment outlining our other proposals.
Assembly Member Garbett, please.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Assembly Member Russell, for explaining our amendment, which I am proud to second. The part I'm going to focus on is what we want to do with reprioritising the investment into MOPAC. If we're truly committed to keeping Londoners safe, we need to invest in prevention and tackling the root causes of crime rather than relying on enforcement and surveillance. For too long, policing has focused heavily on low-level drug offences that do not make any communities any safer. The evidence is clear. Enforcement can't reduce harm or build trust in communities most affected. The Mayor's own London Drugs Commission, which came out last May, has recognised this reality and called for a shift away from criminalising cannabis and also backed moving cannabis into the Psychoactive Substances Act, which is in effect a decriminalisation of cannabis. Last year, nearly 58% of all stop and search activities was for drugs, predominantly cannabis. The stringent stance on drugs is costing people's lives and leading to the criminalisation of so many young people. The Mayor's Commission proved what we already knew, that while black and brown people use cannabis at a similar rate to white people, black Londoners remain disproportionately targeted and are more likely to be stopped and searched for cannabis possession. The Greens have long called for cannabis to be legally controlled and regulated. Young black Londoners are over-policed and underprotected, and changing the way cannabis is policed will begin to address the injustice. Arresting, criminalising or punishing people who use drugs does not work. Studies show that criminalising people for cannabis possession means they're more likely to reoffend within 18 months, showing it absolutely does not work. I have a background in children's NHS commissioning, in working in public health and in adult social care. I've listened to families who've lost loved ones due to drugs, people who've been criminalised, public health experts and academics, and they all say the same thing, that this current approach is not working. Drug policies that prioritise criminalisation also represents a huge commitment of police time that could be redirected towards tackling serious violence, exploitation and supporting Londoners. And that's exactly the kind of work that the Violence Reduction Unit leads on. Working with young people at risk, supporting victims and addressing the root causes of violence in our communities. Deprioritising cannabis policing is about being smart and evidence-led. It means focusing resources on proven prevention and intervention efforts that truly keeps Londoners safe. This amendment puts prevention first, prioritises supports for those most at risk and ensures funding goes where it can make the biggest difference. And that's why I'm proud to support it. This part of our budget amendment would be funded by reprioritising the increase in council tax allocated to the MOPAC budget. We would put £5 million of extra funding identified by the Mayor into youth services through the Violence Reduction Unit and provide an extra £5 million of funding to the MOPAC for their commissioned services. The next part I want to speak to is our focus on renters. So London's renters are being deeply let down. The Renters' Rights Bill does nothing meaningful to address affordability for London's nearly 3 million renters. We all know how difficult it is to be a renter in London. Communities are being displaced, people are leaving the cities, families finding it harder and harder to live here, and schools having to close as a result. We know the long-term solution is more council homes, but in the short term, we need to bring rents under control. Public opinion shows overwhelming support for the capping of rents. In the recent YouGov polling showing 78% for support, with nearly half of those saying they strongly support this. These figures show clearly that Londoners are worried about rising housing costs and want stronger protections against unfair rent rises. Organisations like Acorn and London's Renters Union already fight for Londoners every day, helping people understand their rights and holding Londoners to account. Like landlords to account. The Mayor promised in his 2024 manifesto to back renters' unions, to give Londoners advice, guidance and real support, yet no funding has been provided for unions, and this budget still leaves that promise unfulfilled. Without these unions, renters struggle alone. Funding of $250,000 would let them expand this work, hiring staff, taking on more cases and running awareness campaigns so renters actually know the protections in the Renters' Rights Act gives them. London still doesn't have a renters' commission that the Mayor promised nearly 7 years ago. A proper commission would bring together renters, unions, experts and community groups to explore real solutions to the city's affordability crisis. I hosted a rent commission in my first year and showed the need and the appetite to have this kind of discussion across a number of groups. We need the Mayor to finally take leadership on this and to form a commission to tell the government what London renters need, devise a formula to improve affordability and show what economic model of rent control would work for Londoners. It would be led by people with lived experience. These amendments are about keeping the Mayor to promises that he's already made around policing and around renting and give Londoners the tools they need to live in a safe, secure and affordable home and city. Thank you.
Thank you. The next motion, amendment, I keep calling it a motion, and I should stop me when I do that. The next amendment is to be proposed by Assembly Member Prince, and it concerns Broadmead Bridge.
Thank you, Chair. Well, many will be aware that the Broadmead Bridge is a key strategic asset that has been closed for some time now. It affects many in East London. And in fact, while I look around this room, there are many in this room that are actually affected by the closure of Broadmead Bridge, such is its significance. I don't want to go into the history of it and why provision hasn't been made from a longer time, but nonetheless, we find ourselves in a situation where we have this key structure which needs repair. Now, I think everybody in the room would agree that local authorities are under a lot of pressure at the moment. There's a lot of mandatory duties they have that is taken up an increasing percentage of the budgets that they have. And so I don't think it's a bad thing that as the strategic authority, the GLA, the Mayor, offers some support to the local authorities. I'm hoping that if we pass this amendment, that it will set a precedent whereby, going forward, the Mayor will actually build a surplus, build a reserve where, in future, when other local authorities are hit with these massive bills for infrastructure, that he can assist in some way. I'm not saying that the Mayor should be responsible for the repair. I'm not saying that the Mayor has to provide all the funding, but I do feel that it's not a bad thing that the Mayor has a fund that he can draw on to give assistance to these local authorities. So, in a nutshell, I'm asking this august body to set a precedent by helping the people in my constituency of Redbridge, but in so doing, going forward, helping Londoners across the capital. Thank you.
Assembly Member Wilson to second.
Thank you, Chair. Second, and reserve my right to speak.
The next amendment is to be moved by Assembly Member Wilson. It concerns front desks.
Thank you, Chair. Now, as I've said many times in this chamber before, the closure and reduced hours at the police station front counters is the single subject on which I have had by far the most correspondence since being elected to this Assembly, and we also presented a petition as well at a previous meeting. It's a huge priority for Londoners. It's a huge priority, we thought, at the 2024 elections. Huge priority for the Mayor. Turns out not to be the case anymore. Certainly a huge priority for us in the Reform Group, and I know that members from all parties share those concerns, and with good reason. The police station front counters are at the heart of the community. They are not just for reporting crime, important though that is, but they also play a crucial role in keeping local police rooted in that local community, which is essential for maintaining the principle of policing by consent. So this amendment, and again, we've tabled it as a standalone thing so you can take your view on it individually, it gives you all the chance to put your money where your mouth is and vote to keep these front counters open when it really matters in a budget debate. And we fund it by scrapping the TfL nominee passes, which, quite frankly, are an anachronism that in times of challenge for everyone in the private sector is simply not acceptable to continue this public sector perk. TfL does not have a recruitment and retention problem. Employee churn is just 5%, compared to 34% in the private sector. Terms and conditions, including salaries and gold-plated pensions, are generally very, very good, and certainly don't need to extend to offering anyone who happens to share an address with a TfL employee to receive this excessive benefit. Now, when the Lib Dems at the last meeting tabled a motion to keep the front desks open, we supported your motion. We thought it worked at the time. We put forward a different way of funding it, but giving you the opportunity to again vote to keep those front desks open. Again, it's a question of priorities. That's what I'm inviting all members to think about carefully today. Your priorities, keeping Londoners safe, and as part of that, keeping those front desks open. It's what Londoners would expect us to do. It's what Londoners would want it to do, and I hope you will join me in supporting it today. Thank you.
Thank you. And Assembly Member Prince to second.
Thank you, Chair. I so second and reserve my right. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move on to the proposal of the budget-related motions, and the first is in the name of Assembly Member Hall, and it concerns London's grooming, supporting London's grooming victims.
Thank you, Chair. It was a year ago that I actually asked for money for grooming gangs. A year ago. And absolutely nothing has happened since. We don't have the major inquiry. We don't have anything. The only thing we do have is young people still being raped, still being groomed. And it does happen in London. And it was after my exchange with the Mayor that so many people actually contacted me that were victims of this. It is essential we do something, and that we do something separate in London. And that is why I've only asked for £1.5 million of funding. And I could suggest to you all that that comes out of the extra £29 million that the Mayor has put in for VAUG, violence against women and girls. So it's not interfering with what the Mayor says, it's just making a suggestion that we actually put an exploitation board in place in London. because it's essential that these girls know that we do understand the situation that they're in, that we do want to do something to help. We cannot sit by while nothing is done about grooming gangs in London. I won't say any more because, quite frankly, I shouldn't need to. I've been going on about this for a year. The mayor pretended he didn't know what I was talking about. In June, he actually turned round and said that there had been no reports of any of these. Then we hear that the Metropolitan Police is re-examining 9,000 cases. This is totally unacceptable. 1.5 million is a drop in the ocean, and I suggest it comes out of the money that the mayor is already putting in for VORG. We have got to be seen to be supporting these rape victims. We have got to be seen to be saying something against these paedophiles, because that's what they are. I only hope that I'm not standing here in a year's time saying, it's 2 years now since I brought this up, and still nothing is being done in London. So I would ask all of you to go to your conscience. The money is there because the mayor has put it in there himself. It's actually in the budget. I would just ask for pressure from everybody here that 1.5 million is put towards setting up this actual board, that we can start looking into this for the sake of the young girls and sometimes boys in London. Thank you.
Assembly Member Garrett to second, please.
I'd like to second and reserve my right to speak. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. The next budget-related motion is in the name of Assembly Member Turrell, and it concerns the state of London's roads.
Thank you, Chair. Can you ever remember whether these budget meetings are coming around faster or faster every year, or whether they just take so long by the time we finish one, we're on to the next one already? But you can't drive around London without noticing the decline in the state of our roads. And potholes are dangerous. I've spoke to cyclists who have been thrown from their bikes after hitting one, received injuries like broken bones. They cause damage to people's cars, immediately hitting the pockets of Londoners and London businesses, but then having a secondary impact when they cause insurance premiums to rise as well. So how did we get here? Well, Sadiq Khan has cut the money that he gives to councils to repair the principal road network. He's cut it every single year of his mayoralty. He hasn't trimmed it, he's decimated it. It was £21 million when he became mayor. It's now just over £1 million. That's £20 million of road maintenance costs that he has shirked off onto local councils. And councils cannot pick up the entirety of that bill. 70% of most councils' budgets go on statutory services. So it's little wonder that our roads are now left crumbling because Sadiq Khan won't pay his bills. It's not all grim. Conservative-run councils like Harrow are this year investing £16 million in repairing their roads, fixing the crumbling roads left by the previous Labour administration, who spent only £2 million in their final year in office. In my own constituency, Bromley has more miles of road than any other London borough, enough to get to Switzerland and back. Yet, for most years of Sadiq Khan's 10-year mayoralty, they have not received a single penny towards the upkeep of the principal road network. Despite this year Bromley Council will be doubling its road maintenance budget, but it should not be the job of Bromley taxpayers and Bromley Council to constantly pick up Sadiq Khan's bill. He should be paying for the upkeep of the principal road network. It is the road used by buses. It is our key infrastructure. That's why TfL have always historically picked up the bill. until Sadiq Khan chose, he hasn't. When I questioned him on this, he tried to claim it was the pandemic that did it. But he has cut it every single year of his mayoralty. He's cutting it this year, he cut it last year, the year before. It's constantly going down because he refuses to pay his bill. And that is why we need to move this motion. It's why it's in our budget amendment as well, that we have identified £15 million for our pothole repair money, to put some of that money back, to support our councils in keeping our roads maintained, so that we get fewer people injured, fewer damage, and support businesses to grow. The party over there had said when they, in the last general election, kept telling us that they were going to fund all their fantasy politics through growth, then killed the growth. One of the things that also kills growth is when businesses can't get down the road without their vehicles being damaged. Yep. So this is also economic support as well as the health and well-being of Londoners. And that is why I'm moving this motion. That's why it's in our budget amendment as well. And I hope that we will come together in Assembly and fix the state of London's crumbling roads.
Thank you. Assembly Member Best to second, please.
Second, and formally second, reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. The next budget-related motion is in the name of Assembly Member Best, and it concerns Broadmead Bridge.
Thank you, Chair. I, like many others in Woodford, have acutely felt the damage of Broadmead Bridge being closed. From initially, when the sign went up saying it will just be a month, to the damage it's caused long term. I used to take my son to football training literally just over the bridge at the school there, and what used to be a 10-minute drive turned into a 25-minute drive, as you would need to go onto the A406, come back round in a circle and drive round. Worse still, the fact that it didn't actually end over 2 months, it's just continued and continued, has been awful for our family. My son now has to get the bus for 2 hours to get to his dad's house. This is something that is happening to families all over our area, especially for kids that rely on the buses that need to get from A to B. It has gone on far too long. And I feel really pleased at this budget motion that we can begin to be, I can be completely honest with you about the fault of this. The fault lies predominantly with the Labour Council, who in Redbridge, who did nothing since 2014. But there are two other culprits here, and they're in the room with us today. The leader of the Conservative Council in Redbridge, who also did nothing to maintain that bridge in the years preceding it, and a member of his cabinet who also did nothing to maintain our bridge. It really is the home for failed Tories over here. And so they might come with a motion today saying how they could protect our bridge, but actually they were the most powerful people who could have done something. So much like the Labour colleagues in Redbridge Council that have done nothing, they have also done nothing. So it is all weasel words from this lot here. I will say I was elected to Redbridge Council in 2014 and I didn't know of the letter. But it is something that we need to fund, not only, by the way, through the £25 million, that would be the short-time fix, we need the £80 million. So what we need is the £80 million, and that is a long-term capital project, much needed. So I really hope people can vote for this today as a motion. And the reason I've put it in, by the way, as a budget motion and not an amendment, is because the funding needs to be significant at £80 million. And I don't think that I can ask any of you to sign up to that on an amendment that you have just seen this afternoon. That really takes long-term planning. But I promise you, this is pulling families apart. It is pulling communities apart. It is ruining businesses. A school is completely struggling. We need our bridge open. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly Member Towell to second, please.
I so second, reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. The next motion is in my name. So if we can start the timer, please. The motion I'm proposing today is to allocate funds to ensure that the repairs at Gallows Corner are brought forward. And there is no provision in the funds. And what's astonishing is the degree to which this project has slipped. Originally, it was supposed to have opened in September. Now they're saying April. no guarantees can be given. And the reason for the importance of this is I'm not arguing that businesses might go out of business. Businesses have gone out of business as a result of the delays in the repair of Gallows Corner. So we're asking for a small amount, some additional guarantees, because if even more businesses will collapse. We've seen one business whose income has declined by 70%. We've seen leisure facilities being seriously damaged due to the problems with this road, and therefore I'm encouraging the Assembly to support this budget-related motion in order to fix a road that has taken a long time coming. Thank you. I would ask Assembly Member Hall to second.
I second and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. And the final budget-related motion that we know of, it comes from Assembly Member Best, and it concerns the cyber helpline. Excuse me.
Thank you. This is something that I raised previously with the Assembly, and we're talking about a really small amount of money that the Assembly or MOPAC would have to put forward in order to save what is a really vital service. We all know that cyber help is all too limited. The police don't have the resources to offer people to rebuild their lives when they have accounts taken a hold of, when they're victims of revenge porn or stalking, and victims are often left destitute with no knowledge of where to go next. The cyber helpline offers actually what is a really financially viable solution to London, something that gives real value. There's been thousands of cases escalated through the cyber helpline. Unfortunately, the Labour government removed some of the money that helped us fund that pilot and that project for 2 years here in London. But what we're asking for is less than 1% of the budget, less than £200,000 in order to fund this service comprehensively in London. And as I say, it not only will we help vulnerable adults, disabled people rebuild their lives when their identity is stolen or they're attacked with fraud, it will also help fight violence against women and girls and those people that are stalked, harassed, victims of revenge porn and need to know where to go next. I've never seen a more brilliant service that offers bang for its buck, and it's a shame that it's been taken away. Well, last year, after we talked about this, the service did manage to continue because the noise we made in the Assembly meant that some donors came forward. But that's not a long-term solution. We need something from the GLA. And as I say, for this vital service that really isn't replicated anywhere else across our services, it's less than 1% of the MOPAC's budget. That is something we can find. That is something we can easily agree to. Thank you.
I second this budget-related motion and reserve my right. So now we go back to the general consideration of the proposals in front of you. So I'd want indications from people who wants to speak. Assembly Member Lord Bailey.
I rise to speak on a few things. Firstly is rent controls. I know why rent controls are popular, because they sound good. Somebody will say, I will control your rent. But let's be very, very clear. They have never, ever worked anywhere in the world. I really wish they did work, but they absolutely don't. Many academics will tell you they're the best way to destroy your city. And if anybody thinks I'm wrong, ask our RPs in London how they've struggled with their own sort of internal version of rent control, and nobody can accuse them of not having a complete desire to provide people with affordable living. That's why they exist. They're very good at it, and even they couldn't handle it. Let's be clear, what rent controls do, they suit people who are already in that provision, who already have somewhere to live. So what about all the children and the families who are stuck in temporary accommodation? What happens to them? I tell you what happens to them. They're stuck there forever because rent controls means less supply. That's always the outcome of rent controls, less supply. Also, it means there's much less maintenance. So over time, not only does the amount of housing disappear, but the quality of the housing disappears. It goes down and down and down. You lose investment to build new places. And the one thing we can all agree on, that all tenures in London, we need more of it. So why you would beg for something that's going to destroy that as a possibility is ridiculous. And if anybody doubts me again, I'll give you another example. Look what happened in Scotland. Look what happened in Sweden. Look what happens in parts of New York. Rent controls destroys your rental scene. I believe it's irresponsible to keep talking about rent controls and acting as if they're going to deliver something good for London, as they absolutely are not. I quickly come to Gallows Corner. As someone who lives near Gallows Corner, I can tell you now it's had a devastating effect on local businesses far and wide, from the car salesmen, both big and small, to local shops, to our little shopping area. But one of the things that's been missed, the amount of displaced traffic is destroying the local roads. If you go to Lower Bedford Road, it is an absolute mess. And I wonder, is anybody going to repair that road? Because it's had probably 60 to 70 times the amount of traffic it normally has, because, of course, it's now having to deal with the traffic from the A12. And today, when our Labour colleagues speak about all of these budget amendments, you will hear the words austerity. Well, I just want to remind you about austerity. Your own Chancellor, Alistair Darling, had a far heavier austerity programme than the Conservatives ever had to deliver to save the country from the ridiculous state you left the public finances in. And also, you'll hear the words tough decision. Well, isn't it funny that when they make a cut, of which there's been plenty, you hear the words tough decision. When anybody else makes a cut, it's a political choice. Well, let me make this quite clear to you. The lack of police officers on our roads is a decision made by this Labour mayor and this Labour government. So when they tell you about extra police officers, the word redeployment should be in that sentence, or they are misleading you. I commend you to our budget amendment because it is the best way of supporting Londoners to have a safe and fair city. And again, I want to say one more thing about rent controls. It is unfair to suggest you have a method of making rent controls work in the city, because if you do, the whole world would like to hear it, because it's never worked anywhere ever in the history of mankind. I beg you to support our amendment.
They just said that it doesn't work.
I know.
Assembly.
They're saying it doesn't.
Thank you. Thank you. Assembly Member Hirani, please.
Thank you, Chair. So what we have in front of us here today from the Mayor's budget is a budget that ensures investment to tackle crime and the causes of crime, investment to build more homes for Londoners, supporting tenants and also reducing street homelessness, and investing to improve our transport network with more step-free stations and an expansion in the Superloop across our city, keeping London as a world leader on tackling air pollution and the climate crisis, and also looking to the future of our city by investing in skills and allocates extra funding to address the impact of AI in London, as well as supporting tourism in our capital and our high streets and the hospitality sector. It bears down on crime by keeping Londoners safe, and it is a top priority. I will just address one of the issues raised by the Green Party around the focus on tackling crime. The Mayor has been and shown that he has led on also looking at prevention and investing in prevention as well by introducing the Violence Reduction Unit. So it's not a case of tackling crime and enforcement versus investing in the causes of crime. But for us in the Labour group, it's a matter of both, which is what our Mayor continues to do, and also the extra money to look at the crimes that have been going up in recent years, namely phone theft, and allocating extra funding to crack down on phone theft, which we know is an issue for Londoners. The Mayor has more than doubled investment in policing from City Hall to help tackle crime, and in total he plans to invest a record-breaking £1.26 billion in policing, while on the other hand we saw that real-term funding cut from when we were under coalition rule from 2010 to 2024, with record numbers of funding coming away in the form of the Home Office grant to London's policing. And the Mayor now looking at how the budget is funded for policing. The Mayor funds around £250 versus 3/4 from government, which is significantly more than it has been in the past. And in addition, we've also heard about the work that's happening to increase money coming in still from the Home Office for extra additional policing grants as well, which continues, and also the £50 million that is there in this version of the budget compared to the previous draft that we saw on supporting young Londoners as well. On housing, the Mayor has also looked to invest on supporting renters, which is clearly something that is in the budget, £3 million allocated in funding, and that's an increase to support renters in our capital, but also more council homes under this Mayor. Record numbers completed than at any point since the 1930s. And just this week, I was in Wembley for the topping out ceremony for Zephaniah House, which is 54 new homes, 100% affordable, that people in our in the area that I represent will benefit from as well. But a real life example of homes being delivered for Londoners. More money for tackling street homelessness as well, which we alluded to earlier on as well. And on transport, as I said, new rolling stock for the Piccadilly line, looking at investment in the Bakerloo line, and also making more stations step-free, as well as investment to keep the momentum on the West London orbital going. It tackles the cost of living head-on by continuing the investment of the Mayor's landmark policy on universal free school meals, but also freezers, bus and tram fares as well, keeping that promise on looking at the cost of living for Londoners. So I will, obviously, with my group, be supporting the Mayor's budget. Looking at the amendments, we're not in a position to support the other parties' amendments, and we will support the Mayor's budget as is, and we ask all members to make sure that we can deliver on those priorities that the Mayor has laid out. Thank you.
Assembly Member Mahfouz, please.
Thank you, Chair. 10 years of delivering for London. For much of that decade, delivering despite having a Conservative government that worked against London. Delivering the teeth of a Conservative and coalition government that knew only one mantra: cuts, cuts, cuts. So let's be clear, I'm going to take no lessons from Assemblymember Garrett and the Tories today. Not from the party that stripped £1 billion, over £1 billion from the Met Police budget. Not from the party that left office with the British people worse off for the first time in history than when they entered government. And certainly not from those who prioritised their friends during the pandemic whilst Londoners paid the ultimate price. They don't get to lecture us on budgets. Not today, not ever. And less than 2 years ago, this Mayor was re-elected with a stomping majority and on a mandate to build a London that was fairer, safer, greener and more prosperous. And so let's measure him and this budget against those targets. Free school meals now baked in forever, making sure that we are making a massive impact for school children right across our city. And of course, additional funding for holiday hunger, and that will continue too. Investing in this budget, no mention today from the Tories about the extra £50 million to support our young people. £8 million to tackle rough sleeping as we work to end homelessness in London. An additional £2 million to tackle financial hardship through the cost of living crisis. Continue to invest in step-free access at stations like Northolt in my patch, making our city more inclusive. And yes, reinvigorating home building and introducing, indeed, rent-controlled properties in our city for the first time, dealing with the biggest challenge that Londoners are facing right now. We're making it safer. More extra money in 1 year under a Labour government than under 14 years cumulatively under the Tories and Lib Dems. Funding to tackle... we've got more than double the contribution from the Mayor's budget, whilst the Tories are proposing not to take the extra funding that is currently being on the table through the Mayor's policing precept. With their amendment, they wouldn't take it. £4.5 million to tackle mobile phone theft. £29 million to take action against violence against women and girls. Introducing new town centre safer neighbourhood teams, as I've seen in my own patch in Ealing Broadway.
funding to support the victims of child exploitation. Homicides at record lows and number of young people killed in our streets lowest levels in over a decade. And greener. We've got the Green Routes Fund. We've got the Green Finance Fund. We've got a new Swimmable London Fund. We've got the Warmer Homes London Fund, which will support the retrofit and making sure that people pay less in their bills, as well as being better for the environment. We've got funding for clean energy and clean air filters at schools to go further than the achievements we've already achieved on ULEZ, and so much more. And of course, on More Prosperous. Fresh off the data that's showing positive movement on the national economy for the first time in far too long. We have got a London growth plan that's coming. We've got progressive plans to deliver the West London Orbital. And £20 million to support dealing with the consequences of AI. £20 million to draw in major events for our city. £10 million to support business growth as a replacement for previously European-funded work, which we'd lost thanks to the Tories and Reform and others telling us that we should have got rid of those funds by going with Brexit. £8 million to increase investment in our tourism. £5 million to support our high streets and our hospitality sector, all building on the work that's already delivered over 65,000 jobs in London, attracted 1,700 events, and added over £3.3 billion to London's economy over the past decade. So, Chair, this is a budget that isn't just numbers on spreadsheets, but delivers on the promise Sadiq made to Londoners and the London promise itself. If you work hard and get a helping hand, you can achieve anything. So this budget is that helping hand for young people, for our neighbours and businesses, for every single Londoner, and that is why I will be voting for this budget today. Thank you.
Assembly Member Baker, please.
Thanks, Chair. As you've heard from Assembly Member Hirani, we absolutely back this budget and don't support the amendments. But I'm going to make a few points on some transport matters because there are some really important issues that have been raised here, but we don't back the solutions that are coming forward. Firstly, on the Greens amendment, Assembly Member Russell on APTAL. Obviously, we've had the discussion before. We 100% acknowledge the huge importance of embedding accessibility in transport planning, but I previously raised the question of whether this was at a cost of £500,000. So those concerns stand as a part of that amendment. Then turning to the reform amendment, Assemblymember Prince on toilets for bus drivers. I mean, absolutely support the need for toilet provision on bus drivers. They should be prioritised in TfL and operators' budgets. I'm afraid we don't believe that we should be cutting the safe and healthy streets budgets, covering improved and safer their buses, bus lanes, pedestrian crossings. We shouldn't be sacrificing one for the other. We shouldn't be saying that the only way to have decent working conditions is to say we have to cut the budgets to mean that people can cross the road safely. That's just a false argument. Then we have a number of really crucial infrastructure issues. So Broadmead Bridge has been raised by a couple of Assembly members. Huge impact on local communities, as do the delays in the essential works on Gallows Corner that many of us have been pushing for a very long time, and potholes and essential road maintenance. These are all really important, and we've spent some time this morning talking about our budgets for them. But we need to be realistic here. It's obviously really useful for opposition politicians to have their clips saying it's all the mayor's fault, and if the mayor just puts some money, then we can have this fixed. But our road maintenance budget was cut by the Conservative government many years ago, and the reason we can't give money to boroughs in the way we used to is because of that historic funding cuts. So there are now other ways to bid for money for boroughs to do that, and we can support, and that has been increased under a Labour government, and we can support London boroughs to bid for those funds to fix the bridges that they own and operate, and we can support additional roads funds for the borough principal road network. We can't support shifting essential trustable funding around, pretending we're just playing whack-a-mole. We've talked all morning about the problems we have in some of the renewals fundings, because these are historic problems that we've had for many years, and they can't be fixed by, years of Conservative underfunding of our transport network on the back of making our service worse in other places. And finally, I'd also just like to say that both Conservatives and Reform have based some of their proposals work on cutting jobs, cutting benefits for Londoners who work for TfL. We should not be balancing our budgets on the back of the people who make our transport network work. It's just simply unfair. So, and those are, I think, some of the transport points that we've raised.
Yes, comrade.
Assembly Member Ahmad, please.
Thank you. I'd like to, whilst we obviously are going to be supporting the Mayor's budget, I'd like to make some points about the policing elements that have been raised by members. With regard to the Exploitation Board, London already has a safeguarding governance and various partnerships in place. And while I utterly understand my colleagues in the Conservative groups are concerned, as we all should be, about victims, there is presently a review of the 9,000 historical child exploitation cases by the Met, and we have been told by the Met that a lot of work is going into that at the moment. The Labour Group believes that we should wait for the outcome of that review, and we will therefore be abstaining on that part of the amendment. With regard to the police spending and precept freezing, well, it's easy to say that we should spend more on policing when you're out of government, but the Conservatives already had the opportunity to fund the police when they had the mayoralty for 8 years and the Home Office for 14 years. And what did they do? They froze the police in precept. They continually made real terms cuts to funding, and they put the Met in the position of having to make the cuts that they're making now. £1.2 billion of real-term cuts over 14 years under a Conservative government. What do the Conservatives now have to say that now that we have a mayor who actually invests in keeping Londoners safe, who's brought the homicide rate down to the lowest on record and literally doubled the amount spent on policing from the last mayor? They complain that he's not spending more. Where was this passion for police funding when the Met's budget was cut by that £1.2 billion under the previous government? They do like to sell themselves as defenders of the police, when actually we know that they are actually defunders of the police. And with regard to reform and what you and your issues around crime, well, reform are the brand leaders, of course, in doing London down, the London haters. So let's just look at some of those stats, shall we, about London. The past year has seen London hit a number of positive milestones in tackling violence. In 2024-25, we recorded the fewest number of under-25 homicides in the city in 2 decades. There were thankfully no youth homicides over the summer of 2025. We saw last year the lowest homicide rate since records began, and there has been a 7% reduction in knife offences in the last year. Violent crime with injury is down by 12% in 2025, and violent crime with injury is down in every single London borough. We also have 10,000 fewer phone thefts in 2025, down by 12% in the last year, based on the work that the Mayor and the Met and MOPAC have been doing. With regard to the cybercrime motion and the issue, of course, cybercrime is a serious and growing and an area of growing concern. However, the Labour Group believes that the Assembly should avoid preempting an issue when the Police and Crime Committee is just about to examine the fraud and cybercrime provision in less than 2 weeks' time. There is a long-standing principle that we allow a committee to do its work unimpeded, and therefore we'd call for that motion to be referred to the Police and Crime Committee for in-depth cross-party consideration within this financial year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Just to let the Assembly know, I am prioritising people who haven't spoken yet. So if anybody's feeling like I'm not picking on, I'm just prioritising those. And on that basis, Assembly Member Roberts, would you like to come in?
Thank you, Chair. I will speak regarding seconding the Lib Dem amendment shortly, but I just wish to take up on some time on various points which were raised by other amendments, most of which we are able to support. There are one or two issues which we have, for example, on the main Conservative amendment, we can't support the main amendment. However, we have very big sympathy for a lot of the points which are raised in that particular amendment. Pothole repairs, absolutely fine. London Exploitation Board and funding for the Met. But we don't agree with freezing the mayoral precept. I appreciate that this is hard times for many Londoners, but if you're looking at approximately £20 on a Bandy property and ask people whether they would prefer that that money goes directly into policing London, 50 pence a week, or do they wish to not have that particular money, then I think that most would say, let's put the money into the police. We talk a big game about wanting to fund the police, and if the precept is going to go directly into funding policing, then that is why we cannot support the amendment as it stands. And also, we don't necessarily endorse the cuts to the staff at City Hall. On the London's road, certainly, and I'm very pleased to see that there is mention of Hammersmith Bridge in there. This is a national disgrace that Hammersmith Bridge has been left to rot, largely due to the inaction of Labour Hammersmith and Fulham Council, largely due to the previous Conservative government, and now largely due to the current Labour government that brought together a task force over a year ago in order to try to get this fixed and still haven't done anything about it. Now, what we also need to look at is the reform amendments. No, I'm not going to support the repairs to a bridge by taking money away from my constituency. Thank you very much. It's an awfully enticing prospect, but it ain't going to happen. And I would also suggest that the way in which the amendment is framed as this being this rather tiresome and tedious whinge about the war on motorists. Yeah. I mean, my goodness me, do find some original material for once. It would be most helpful. Let me see. Police front counters. Again, we can't support that, even though we are in favour of retaining police front counters. But the idea that we've got this, that we can fund it from taking away nominee passes, that's a contractual obligation. The problem is now. That will take years to unpick with the unions and the workforce. That is not something which can be done immediately. We need to address police front counters today. In fact, we need to address it by Saturday, because that's when they will be closing across London and all of them will be moving to reduced hours, apart from Lewisham and Charing Cross. That is happening now. We don't have time to waste with measures such as that. And the other point which I would like to raise is that Assembly Member Baker gave cogent reasons why she wasn't able to support the amendments which were being put forward, but then came up with no ideas of their own. And this is something which we see on a time and time again basis from the Labour group, is that we would like to do this, but the time isn't right. Let's move it out to the Police and Crime Committee for further consideration. Let's do something else. Oh, of course it's the right thing to do. Toilets for bus drivers, absolutely marvellous. Yes, we support that. The Mayor's been in for a decade. Why hasn't the Mayor moved to get proper facilities for bus drivers in a decade? And don't come whinging to me about austerity. Politics is about choices, and we see what the choices the Mayor is willing to make, such as £6.5 million on rebranding the overground lines for no particular reason. Nobody asked for it. Yeah, nobody asked for that at all. It's about choices, and all you do is you sit there, you deliver your greasy Enconia to the Mayor, you blow, as I say, the smoke, you come along and Assembly Member Mahfouz, really, I do hope that at the end of this you do get the deputy mayoral position, because you have worked so hard for it. You really have, and you read it out beautifully. I hope that Sadiq didn't spend too much time typing it. So yes, there's lots to applaud within these amendments. There are some that we simply can't get behind. But I really would ask one final thing in the 38 seconds that we have left, because I am supposed to be seconding our motion or amendment, is that please, let's get behind a very simple thing, something that we all agreed on all those years or those months ago, that we really do need to have a disability champion for London, somebody with lived experience who can advise us properly on the steps that we need to take. We all agreed on it. This shows how we can pay for it. So please, if you can't support any of the other amendments, support this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly Member Georgiou, please. Yes. Well, there's other people have spoken already.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All I'd say to Assembly Member Mahfouz mentioned the plough in response to Assembly Member Garrett. Well, if he's the plough, who's the donkey riding it? You know. Well, anyway, we'll leave that there. I'm not specifying. I'm not specifying. You know, with regard to the Conservative amendment, as always, it is reasonable, fair, and affordable. We love that word these days. But as the amendment sets out, the Mayor's budget, and I know that Assembly Member Mahfouz is upset that he's not part of this budget, but his staffing budget has gone up from 36 million since he took office to 122. And that's just ridiculous. The taxpayers of London are getting less for more. With regard to the staffing restructure that we alluded to, that saves 10 million. And Assembly Member Baker, we're talking about TfL staff budget of being around £2 billion. What we are talking about is back office staff, not frontline. And mind you, the reason why she's gotten so upset is because we're talking about her union cronies, which she doesn't like. And we're also including that, cutting the facility time at TfL, which is 8 times more generous than the one at the GLA in terms of cost per employee. Nominee passes are unjustifiable, and we've rightly outlined how that we will find savings from that. Now, with regard to Assembly Member Hall's brilliant motion on the grooming gang inquiry, I truly don't understand, and I have immense respect for Assembly Member Ahmad. I think she's wonderful, other than her politics. But I would say what she did is spell out exactly why we should do this. Then, as typical with Labour, says that, but we're going to vote against it anyway or abstain. I don't understand the Labour logic. I don't understand, Mr. Chairman, what goes through their heads, how they can speak in favour of something, then say we're opposed to it. I'd also refer back to Assembly Member Ahmed's speech about crime. Knife crimes are up, burglaries are up, robberies are up, thefts are up, phone robberies are up. Everything is up, bar the homicide rate. But even then, that's a cherry-picked statistic. If you look over the course of this mayor's mayoralty, homicide rates have gone up. Yeah. So I really don't understand what bent, dodgy Wikipedia page Labour Assembly members get their statistics from. On housing, as we've heard from Assembly Member, the Lord Bailey, from the Lord Bailey, housing is down, but yet we are spending billions more. Our transport system is crumbling, as has rightly been alluded to by Assembly Member Turrell, the honourable member from Bexley and Bromley, 2 fantastic Conservative boroughs. Central Line battered, Bakerloo Line battered, graffiti everywhere. And let's not get started on the potholes, of which I know you're all fans of my TikTok. You can see I did one. I blew out some birthday candles for one recently in Labour Run Enfield, but it won't be for long, Bassam, don't worry. And as regard to Assembly Member Roberts, I must admit I've been agreeing with a lot of his speeches recently, but don't tell my right-wing friends across London. But he criticised us. I will take no lessons from the hummus and celery munching Liberals. And I appreciate I mentioned the hummus point. I'm of Greek extraction, so we'll leave that one for there. And so I would end on this point. Good. What is the point? What is the point of the Labour AMs? I love you, Mr. Mayor. You're so wonderful, Mr. Mayor. Write our questions for us, Mr. Mayor. We love your budget, Mr. Mayor. 16 years of failure and they're still going. I'll leave it there, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you.
It feels like 16. It's been that painful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Personally, I quite like hummus. But let's... Now we're at a situation nobody else has indicated who hasn't already contributed. So I'll call on Assembly Member Prince. Did you want to sum up or contribute?
Contribute.
Yeah, please do.
Shortly.
Thank you. May I say, as a vegetarian of many years long-standing, I'm also up for hummus too.
You're woke as well, then, Pete.
Well, could be. OK, Broadmead Bridge. Unfortunately, I cannot allow the Tory lies to this Assembly to go unchallenged. It is an absolute lie that when I was leader of Redbridge that I did nothing about Broadmead Bridge. So let's do a little bit of history lesson. First of all, you need to get your dates right. LBR was first notified there were issues with Broadmead Bridge in 2013. So as the leader, I immediately authorised remedial works to be done to the bridge. I also commissioned Atkins to conduct a full review and inspection of the concrete around the bridge so we knew what the extent of the damage would be. Unfortunately, early in 2014, I was no longer the leader of Redbridge, so the mantle was passed over to Labour. So for someone to claim that when I was leader of Redbridge Council, I did nothing about Broadmead Bridge is an absolute lie, and I'm calling it out. I'm afraid, really, this Assembly should be better than pathetic, childish political point scoring by members of the Tory group. Can I also just touch on Gallows Corner as well? Because again, unfortunately, the Speaker didn't get to the nub of the problem. It is not TfL's fault that the works have been extended. It is, in fact, because Essex and Suffolk Water have had a major problem with the waterworks in that area. They had a plan, a sensible plan, I would argue, to do the works they needed to do at the same time as the bridge was being, or the flyover was being repaired. Unfortunately, and this is where they are at fault, they did not do a proper survey around the area, and when they started to do the works that they wanted to do, they discovered there were issues that they hadn't foreseen, and ergo they've had to completely redesign the works that they wanted to do. And this is why it has resulted in a massive delay. But I will call them out, because in the meetings that I've had with them, they promised they would do a three-phase work on the Gallows Corner, and each phase would allow certain and limited traffic movements. But now they've reneged on that, and they're only going to actually open or finish their works in April this year. I think maybe it may go on a little bit longer than that, but certainly by May. So I would really ask the leader of the Conservatives to make sure that her minions get their facts right, please, before they start making accusations against me and my party, and indeed telling lies to this Assembly. Thank you.
There will be no apology to the biggest liar in this Assembly.
Assembly member, that language is not appropriate. Neither, we should not be calling anyone liar.
Chair, if I can be accurate, I didn't call anybody a liar. I said it was a lie that I had done nothing whilst I was leader. So I'm afraid the only person who has spoken incorrectly is the Assembly member opposite.
Right. Well,
I did not name anybody. I was very clear.
Now,
so I actually demand an apology.
Well, you can demand all you want. It's up to the member as to whether or not they apologise. Now, there are a number of people, because there's general confusion of people who've seconded or are going to sum up on each motion. Is there anybody else who want to contribute on a general point? Assembly Member
I'll just
yes.
be very quick, Chairman. If I can go on bus drivers, completely agree with you. That's got to be sorted out. Unfortunately, the cost implications in your amendment, whatever we're calling them, seem exorbitant. We haven't had time to look at that. But, I mean, of course, we all need to worry about bus drivers and their convenience. The front counters, of course, we're all calling for those to be reopened. It's also a case of trust and confidence in the police. If you can actually go and talk to police officers, and I will have a particular shout out for Harrow. One of the ones, the one in Pinner, is actually manned by people doing it for nothing, for volunteers. So I really don't understand that, and they're actually keeping the police station open, so there are police on site anyway. So I really don't understand that one. But anyway, very supportive of keeping front counters open. Assembly Member Russell, I absolutely applaud your constant calling for more public toilets. I always have supported you, I always will. Unfortunately, what it's wrapped up in isn't necessarily what we agree on, but that's specific. You know that. And then coming to our amendment, freezing council tax is the beginning of an attempt to actually help people with the cost of living, because we do care about that. The Mayor seems so happy just to put it up year upon year upon year. For his 10 years, the only time he didn't was the first year. There's a massive increase over, I think it's 85%. The council, his precept has gone up by, which is one hell of a lot in 10 years. £15 million for potholes, that would actually not only help motorists and people that use the road, cyclists, pedestrians, but it would also help the councils who just simply can't keep up with them. So that's great. And of course, £1.5 million towards the rape gangs. Of course I want to see it. And Assembly Member Ahmed said that the Labour position is that you'd rather see what happened with the 9,000 historic cases. But that's right, isn't it? They're historic cases. What about the girls and boys that are being raped at the moment? Do they have to wait behind those historic cases being looked at? Do we have to allow paedophiles to carry on now, just so that we can look at 9,000 historic cases? We need to be looking after these kids now that are being raped. We need to be saying now, let's put a stop to this. And if any of you think I'm going to give up mentioning this at every bloody opportunity I can, think on. This is so important. There are girls and boys being raped in London at the moment, and you, Labour group, are wanting to see what happens to the 9,000 historic cases before you'll actually put something in place. Think about it. Think about it, because, Chair, I'm going to call for a recorded vote. I feel so strongly about this. It's £1.5 million, and the Mayor has already put £29 million aside for violence against women and girls. Why can't it come out of that? And the Mayor has got a nearly £24 billion budget. I want to put a stop to these poor kids getting raped. You've got to ask yourself, do you? Because if you do, then at least vote for that particular amendment. Thank you.
Very good.
Oh, I mean it.
Assembly Member Best, please, just to talk on one specific
Yeah,
issue.
thank you. Just to quickly address the Disability Champion amendment to the Lib Dems, because this is something, obviously, Assembly Member Bakari and I both worked on initially from inception all the way through, and obviously you've been a champion of the Disability Champion ever since. But I want to say this is something that we fundamentally disagree on the delivery of it. We said this last year, and that remains the same today. Because when you employ someone as a grade 9 post in the GLA, they automatically can now not criticise the Mayor. And fundamentally, that is something that we need the Disability Champion to be able to do. Because when you look at ULEZ, when you look at the LTNs, when you look at the floating bus stops, when you look at the delivery of housing that's inappropriate for disabled people, those are the things that we need somebody to be able to speak up on without fear or favour. So we think this model will just take us, what we call this the Amy LeMay model. It didn't work very well the first time, and I think we've learnt a lesson from that. So yes, I want us to have a disability champion, but I fundamentally think we cannot deliver that this way, because they will not be a champion, they will be a mayoral mouthpiece, and it just won't work. We've already got 9 of them, plus Bassam. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody now wishing to exercise their right? Otherwise, I'm going to go back through the summing up of the budget-related motions. Assembly Member Wilson.
Yeah, I'll second, or come back to seconding the Broadmead amendment. So, where are we? This is obviously, as we know, as the comments have been made, it's a huge issue for Redbridge residents. But it also goes to the heart of an issue which cuts across London as a whole. We know that for TfL, drivers are merely a cash cow, and they always have been and they always will be, whether it's ULEZ, whether it's the congestion charge, the Blackwall, Silvertown Tunnel taxes, it's a cash cow. In return, I think drivers can be forgiven for wanting some support in maintaining some of this crumbling road infrastructure, which simply isn't happening. So our amendment specifically talks about Broadmead Bridge, yes, which has been closed to vehicular traffic for over 2.5 years. Reference has also been made to Hammersmith, and of course only a fortnight ago, Albert Bridge was joined that unhappy list of closed bridges. It's a shameful symbol of London's decline under this mayor. As Lord Frost said at the time of the Albert Bridge closure, and this week the closure of another London bridge to traffic for safety reasons, the symbolism is uncomfortable. As the Roman Empire started to decay, one of the first things to go was the bridges. Now, we're not quite in the last days of Rome yet, but let's take a step to make sure we don't get there. Fixing Broadmead Bridge is a complex and expensive affair. It's a Redbridge asset, we know that, but Redbridge can't afford to do it on its own. A lot of the complexity and the cost that relates to the interaction with the Central Line. That's why we think it's only fair that TfL should make a fair contribution as well. And I welcome the National Government's £1 billion Structures Fund, and this is exactly the kind of project that should be assisting with too, and I hope that we will support Redbridge's bid to get some funding from that. But big problems require big solutions and working together to make things happen. So when I saw Assemblymember Best's motion, I thought, great. We can work together. We can have some cross-party support for getting this issue done and sorted, because it's so important. There are some issues that are more important than party political point scoring. This is exactly one of those. So I was really disappointed by that venomous attack. My colleague has already given the history lesson, which fills in the gaps in the inaccurate recollection. So I won't say any more than that. I will rise above that political party point scoring on this occasion. But the difference between our amendment and the motion is that we've actually identified a way of funding our contribution towards that. And I would have thought, from what we heard earlier this morning, if we could do that by taking away some money from the LTNs and 20 miles an hour in Assemblymember Gergew's Enfield borough, then I would have thought you'd have welcomed that. I thought you would have welcomed that with open arms, but perhaps I misjudged that. Really sorry to see that. So we do have an opportunity here today, if we can, put aside the bluster, put aside the politics, look at this issue on its merits. We have a funded opportunity to make our contribution here, take our stand, make our position clear, show some leadership for London, because that's what Londoners, that's what Redbridge residents expect us to do, and hopefully set that example for others to follow, and Redbridge Council and the government can fall in behind us. But yeah, let's work together on this. It's too important. It's too important to leave to this way that it's being conducted today. Thank you.
Right. Now we're going to start summing up this in the reverse order. So I call on Assemblymember Best to sum up on the cyber helpline.
Thank you.
Of course.
Did you want to go first on the seconding? No. Okay. I won't take it too long on this. I think I'm getting the direction of where the Labour group are going. I hope others will vote differently on the cyber helpline. But I will just say this. I take it as some sort of win when the Labour Party take this idea of, we'll just send it to committee. Because essentially what they're saying in those situations is, yeah, you are right, and we literally can't think of a single reason to tell you you're wrong, so we're going to kick it into the long grass and hope no one notices. So thank you for at least noting that, but I don't think it will help, and I know what you're going to try and do is push it down and think when nobody's watching, that's when we'll turn a blind eye and vote against it. So I recognise that you recognise that it's a problem. I just wish you'd have the guts to vote for it today, and I hope others will. Thank you.
Thank you. I will sum up on the Gallows Corner budget-related motion, only to say, of course, I'm disappointed in the Labour Party. I'm a Conservative, I would be, because they don't seem to have any opinions, even when they actually do believe in a motion and they support a motion. They realise that any opinion that isn't shared by the Mayor is something that may get them deselected. And they're just not very brave in that respect, and I would ask you to discover your spines. Gallows Corner does need the resources. We can make excuses, as the Reform member said, you can make excuses as to why Gallows Corner isn't fixed. That's exactly what we've been facing with Gallows Corner for a long period of time, of people coming forward with excuses. This budget-related motion is asks for an allocation of resources so that those excuses will go away. And in that, I sum up on that particular budget-related motion. If we can now call on Assembly Member Best to sum up on the budget-related motion related to Broadmead Bridge.
Thank you. I have triggered some into serious anger on this, but I think that perhaps they don't recognise the actual genuine, serious anger that I have over this. This is my life. This is residents around me's life. This is literally being life-ruining. And the simple fact is you didn't do enough. Is the bridge secure? Is it stable? No. And that is under your tenure. And that is the point I made. Did you do enough? No. Did the Labour Council do enough? No, they failed even more. Of course, Labour are going to fail more than you, but you still didn't do enough, and that is my genuine life.
Oh God! Right, please, I've got to go. Can I vote from the train?
So seriously, we do want to do all we can on Broadmead Bridge, and we do want to work together. So I hope we will have some support across here for the different ways in which we've chosen to tackle this today, because both of us want to see Broadmead Bridge fixed.
Could I have a point of personal explanation, as there is well then, Chair, I need a point of personal explanation.
Did the Assembly Member refer to you?
No.
Yes, she did. She did. She said you did not do enough.
He did that to me. I didn't say anything.
Go on then. Go on.
Yeah, I understand why you're upset, and that's why I've done a lot of work, and I have done a lot of cross-party work on this. But the point of personal explanation is that you say that I didn't do enough, Assembly Member, but after I did the work that I did, the TfL notified us that there was, at that point, no risk to the public. So at that point, I think I'd done as much as I could do to ensure that there was no risk to the public. Obviously, it was for others, from other parties, to take up the mantle that I'd left them. But I'd left the bridge in a stable position, in a position that was at no risk to the public. I really think you need to think about that. And it's a shame that if you're looking to me to work with you and with Ian, who's done some good work, then you really shouldn't be attacking me and making false allegations about my not doing everything that I could at the time and using as many resources as was available at the time.
Thank you. Let's move on to the no. Assembly Member, when the next.
Just say a nerve has clearly been hit.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Assembly Member, some things don't need to be said. We are at the end of this process. We will vote, but first, Assemblymember Turrell to sum up on his budget-related motion related to roads.
Thank you, Chair. I will keep it brief because I seriously worry for Lord Bailey's health if I was to speak slowly on this matter. But colleagues, we can't keep waiting for the next bridge closure. That's why this motion calls for a strategy to proactively maintain these bridges so that we don't see repeats of what we have seen with Hammersmith and with Broadmead Bridge. We've seen what happens when you don't have a plan, when you don't plan for these closures. But also, this motion is about road safety. And when we look at road safety, Sadiq Khan has also decimated the LIP funding, the pot of money meant to make our roads safer. He inherited a budget of 123 million. He has cut it to just under 175 million. But that isn't all. He's using the LIP money to prioritise anti-car zealousy. He's using it to prioritise anti-car zealousy over actual changes to improvements to road safety. Bromley saw the biggest drop in people killed and seriously injured on its roads of any council in London without a single LTN or without blanket 20-mile-per-hour zones. But instead of trying to work with councils like Bromley, the mayor is instead trying to preach to them about what they should be doing. He's trying to lock them out of funding. £20 million cut from the pothole repairs budget, 148 million cut from the road safety pot, anti-car zealousy prioritised over actual road safety measures, bridges closed with no plan to fix them. That is the state of Labour's record of failure on our roads.
Thank you. Now, Assemblymember Hall to sum up on the budget-related motion related to grooming gangs.
Okay, all I'll say is this. The money is in place. Your mayor has put that money there. I'm just asking you and my colleagues to put direction to where it should go. The reason for not voting it is if it would cause harm by voting for this. Of course it won't. It's a drop in the ocean. But these kids are being abused now. I don't know why Labour don't want to look into grooming gang inquiries across the country. I don't know why Labour members are being dragged screaming and kicking to get things done about it. I hope you are all better. I hope we can lead the way in London and show that we do not want our children raped in London by these paedophiles. I hope you all support it. Thank you.
Very good. I'm going to allow an intervention, even though, because she did reserve her right on the first motion.
The amendment.
The amendment, yes.
Budget amendment.
The budget amendment. Assembly member Best, please.
Assembly member obsessed. Sorry.
Thank you. I just would start with this. Nothing beats a Sadiq Khan council tax rise. And right now, you'll pay £511 for an average household in London. That's £234 extra for a family since Sadiq became mayor. And what do Labour say when we challenge that? There's money on the table, Assembly Member Mafu said. There's magic money on the table and the Tories won't take it. When will they understand there is no such thing as government money? That is people's money, that is residents' money, that is Londoners' money, and they just want us to take it without a thought. The people that know best how to spend their money are Londoners, and we all know that council tax is regressive in the fact that it takes equally from everyone, and the money ends up coming to the same place, and we need to think about how we are spending it before we take it from people that need that money. So yes, you might say, oh, it's only £20. But look at what happens over time if we don't reverse the trend, if we don't say we're going to stop pulling that easy lever to say we'll just rise it, because people need that money. That pays for prescriptions, food on the table, kids' activities, transport, petrol. It's paying for everything for those families, and it's far too easy to say we'll take it without a second thought, because there is no such thing as Sadiq Khan's money. He doesn't go behind the sofa and find £1 million and feel like he's going to be a philanthropist one day. He takes that money from Londoners that would otherwise be spent on them and their family. And then we have this strange argument from Labour where they say, the Tories refuse to spend this money on policing. They refuse to take this money. And they don't see that it's exactly the same as the argument on a fares freeze. I don't understand how they can't make that correlation in their head. It's exactly the same concept. We are saying freeze council tax because it takes from everyone. But they're happy to do a fares freeze and not talk about the fact that there's consequences. Of course we acknowledge that there's consequences when you freeze anything. But right now we think that the consequence of rising council tax is far too negative to do, and we need to make a step in going the other direction. Then we had some comments around the policing and knife crime. It's a complete gaslighting of Londoners to tell them that what they're seeing is a safer city. Every single Londoner can see with their own eyes that's not the case. And we talk about some cherry-picked figures. I think the most clear statistic you have is that knife crime is higher per capita in London than anywhere else in the UK, any other region. That tells you the story of London. And also, Labour took a long time talking about the bread and butter of the motion, the things that all of us agree on, that we haven't changed in our amendment. Just to make clear, the vast majority, apart from these crazy rent controls that Assembly Member Mahfouz mentioned, the vast majority of that, all of that, in fact, that Krupesh Hirani mentioned, we've agreed on. None of that changes. So I presume that you would want to agree with us, because our motion, our amendment, keeps everything you talked about, plus gives extra money to the police, plus freezes council tax, and plus sets up an exploitation board and begins to fix the potholes in our road where TfL's budget has been decimated. Assembly Member Baker wanted to talk about the TfL. I understand why, comrade. But we didn't talk about the fact that nominee passes at the moment are at 58,000. There's only 27,000 staff members in TfL. We really need to do something about this. And we're talking about millions in faculty time, millions and millions. That means time off working. That means we're paying people just not to work. Nobody else has that benefit across London. People would find that crazy in any other sector to know how the TfL operates. We're not talking about taking away, we're talking about equalising to what the workforce across London experiences elsewhere. So all in all, I haven't heard a single argument against our amendment from any group on here. Nobody said... Even Assembly Member Russell wants to speak in favour in a minute. We're going to hear some really impassioned speeches about why this is a great thing to do. But from the Labour group, I haven't heard a single argument against. So I can only presume that they are in favour. Or they don't want to tell you why they're not in favour of putting money into the Met, freezing council tax and fixing London's roads. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's go.
Assembly Member Wilson, if you could sum up on your amendment on front desks.
I don't think I really need to say very much more, other than just to say, yeah, it is that crucial issue. Everyone has been bombarded by complaints about this. It's a real catastrophic failure of the Mayor. He's broken his manifesto commitment. We have an opportunity today to take a stand, and we've all supported keeping those police stations open. We've got a way of doing it. And given Assembly Member Hall, your group, your motion, your amendment includes this as potentially one of your spending items and the way that we're funding it as one of your savings, I really hope that at least you guys might support us on this. Thank you.
Assembly Member Prince, to sum up on the Broadmead Bridge budget amendment.
Thank you, Chair. I really do feel that because nothing has been spoken about regarding Broadmead Bridge this afternoon, that I should speak in support of this amendment. All I will say is actually, I honestly believe that Assembly Member Best made the most convincing arguments as to why this motion should be supported. Her impassioned plea about the bridge is a very good example of what people in Redbridge and the wider East London community are suffering as a result of the lack of action by the local authority. So I would ask that members across the board work together, as Assembly Member Best just said. We should work together on this, support this motion, and it will not only solve the problem of Broadmead Bridge, but as I've said before, it will set a precedent that means that other bridges and other infrastructure across London can get the much needed support they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly Member Russell, if you could sum up on the
Yes.
your amendment.
I would love to. I hope they're going to reset that clock. I am going to attempt to respond to all 7 amendments and 5 budget-related motions in the style of just a minute. So, Conservative amendment is incompatible with the Green Group amendment because you want to get rid of the policing precept, and we want to put that into victim support. So that's out. The Lib Dems, we are very grateful to you for bringing forward again the amendment supporting the Disability Champion. We will be voting for this and with great enthusiasm. In terms of Assembly Member Prince, seconded by Wilson, your motion on toilets for bus drivers. We love toilets. You know we love toilets. But in this case, you're taking money from Healthy Streets, which actually provides some toilets, and you've got to go to the right source for the money for that. That's TfL and the bus operators, as Assembly Member Baker said. Assembly Member Wilson's amendment on addressing knife violence, we will not be voting for this. We don't want to see more stop and search. We prefer to spend money on prevention and crime reduction. Now, the Green motion, I just want to thank Assembly Member Baker for her support for APTALs and Assembly Member Hall for her support for toilets. And Assembly Member Lord Bailey, perhaps you could vote for our amendment and then you could submit all your brilliant comments to our Rent Commission that would then happen. Assembly Member Prince's amendment on Broadmead Bridge. We do not want to stop measures to make our streets safer to save a bridge. That is the wrong way to be doing this. We've got to be doing this stuff the right way round. Obviously, we need to invest in supporting infrastructure, all our infrastructure. You know, the Albert Bridge, all these bridges are going. We absolutely need to do it, but not the way you've suggested, so we'll be against. And Assembly Member Wilson's amendment on front counters, we will not be voting for this. We want to see more work done on equalities. We're worried the Met won't even spend the money if it gets given it. And we want to see proper mitigation for the loss of front counters. But funding this by taking away nominee passes is just the wrong way to go about it. Then we get on to the budget-related motions, 5 of these to go. London's grooming victims, we are going to abstain on this one. We support the 3 last calls in your calls on the Mayor. But we need to see more information about your exploitation board. We want to see what the community wants, you know, what people... Who's calling for this? How would it work? How's it going to be funded? So we'd want more info on that, but we are going to abstain. We're not voting against it. State of London's roads, Assembly Member Turrell. There is already a risk register of assets for bridges in London, so that call is defunct. And pothole fixing absolutely needs to happen, but we need systemic action on this. We need to be having action to cut traffic, like road pricing. We need to be cutting car sizes so that there is less wear and tear on the roads in the first place. And Broadmead Bridge, which is Assembly Member Best, same reasoning as State of the Roads. We're going to be voting against that. And Gallows Corner. Keith is actually right. The complexity of what's happened at Gallows Corner is not a budget problem, and so we're going to be voting against that, although we would love TfL to get it all sorted as quickly as possible. And then the cyber helpline. Assembly Member Best, we are going to vote for this. And we would, why we're doing this is we want to see support for victims, the kind of services that we proposed in our amendment, and but we also recognise that PCC is working on this and will be taking this forward, which is great because we'll get more Assembly action on it.
Can you
and finally,
come to
I
the
want to
conclusion,
thank the Green Group staff team for all the work that they have done. They are absolutely awesome, and
very good.
Zoe and I thank them from the bottom of our hearts.
You are out of time, and you would have lost points on just a minute for that. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, well done, Caroline. At least well done for that.
The next sum up is from Assembly Member Wilson on his knife crime amendment.
Yeah, very quickly. Just to respond to a couple of points that have been made in discussion about this. Firstly, Assembly Member Ahmed, you just demonstrated exactly what the Mayor does every single time. You've cherry-picked a year, this last year in isolation, saying that things have got better. What you need to do is look at the entirety of this Mayor's administration from day one in 2016 up until now. Those crimes are up. Knife crime is up. Robbery is up. Burglary is up. Phone theft is up. All those things that really, really matter, they are up on his record, and that's why we want to invest money in the police, and particularly with regards to knife crime. And Assembly Member Russell, just now, you referred to knife violence. Why didn't you call it knife crime? Are you not prepared to call these people criminals? Because that's what they are. But anyway, I would encourage every member, support this amendment, put money in the police, get our streets safe. That's what Londoners want us to do.
Assembly Member. And you want personal explanation, yes.
Point of personal explanation. Anyone who was on the Assembly in the last term will have known that the Police and Crime Committee did a report looking into knife violence, and young people who we heard evidence from told us they preferred it to be called knife violence rather than knife crime. So they talked about young people affected by knife violence. So that is why I called it knife violence, because young people asked for it.
Thank you. If we can now go on to the summing up by Assembly Member Prince on his budget amendment on bus drivers.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to start, first of all, by thanking our team for preparing and all the work and support they've did on our budget amendments. So I'd like to personally thank Lena, I'd like to thank Ben, and most of all,
Luke. Assembly Member, these thanks are great, but this is not the Oscars. I would prefer it if you addressed the motion rather than went on your thank you list.
It's my time.
And similarly goes to Assembly Member Russell as well.
To Luke, and my biggest thanks to Ian up in the gallery for all his hard work. How painful was that, Chair? In relation to the toilets, if we can just get to the matter in hand, I think it would be a great shame if the members here don't show support for this this amendment, because we've been cracking on about it almost since the day that I've been in the Assembly, and we now have the opportunity to do something about it. So I will be asking for a recorded vote, and we will most definitely be flushing out those who are in support of bus drivers and those who merely pay them lip service. Thank you.
You don't need to call for a recorded vote because it's recorded automatically anyway. Assembly Member Pakari, if you'd like to sum up on your budget amendment.
Yeah, thank you. I'd just like to note that I didn't hear a word from the Labour group about the disability champion. I mean, do you want to tell me now what you're going to do? For or against? Do you want a disability champion or not? Because the fact is, your silence is really clear to me. You've got no reason now. It makes it very clear to me that you're worried that a disability champion will hold the Mayor of London to account, even though the Conservatives think that they would rather have somebody who can hold them to account. I'm very confused about what you think the disability champion role is now for you, from your perspectives. It's clear to us, and it's always been clear. It's about making sure that they are leading on co-production across the GLA. That's what we've always said, and what we are now doing is delaying that. They have been begging and asking us to do this from day one. We voted for it all together at the beginning, and then the Mayor says, no, not happy, don't want that, and suddenly Labour changed their mind. And since that time, they haven't given us a good enough reason. We've listened, we've adapted, we've changed the motion, we've made differences to the amendment, we've made sure that we've put the resourcing in and all the investment that would make this a success. And I'm just so angry now. I'm beyond disappointed. I mean, everyone I talk to at the doors, they are disappointed with Labour. You know what? I'm just angry with you. What's the point of Labour? You just don't do anything for London. You are only here, this Labour group, to be the Labour Mayor's lapdogs. Yes, Mr Mayor. What else, Mr Mayor? 3 bags full, Mr Mayor. I mean, we're fed up of it. We've got a job to do. We all voted for a disability champion, all of us unanimously, and you have let them down. I am angry, and I will shout, and I will scream, and I will make sure that every disabled person out there is listening, because they deserve to be heard. They are fed up of being patronised. They are fed up of having to come all the way to City Hall, work their socks off to be heard, and then to be told that, oh yeah, thank you so much for coming to our meeting. Thank you so much for ticking that box and allowing us to look good. They come in their own time and they are volunteers. And they work their socks off to make sure that you listen to them, and you have ignored them again and again and again. I am fed up and I am angry. Thank you for now listening, because last time I was speaking, you're all there tapping, looking at your phones. Now you're listening because I'm angry, and everybody out there who wanted a disability champion is angry too. I want us to make sure that we work together and work cross-party. This is the London Assembly's job, the voice of London. Get on with it. Make sure there is a real, accountable role for a disability champion that can work to make sure that we are co-producing. You promised it to London, and we should have done it.
Assembly Member Garrett, if you could sum up on your amendment, please.
I'd be delighted to. Well, the first thing, no one has said thank you to the GLA finance team, and we're apparently banned now from doing this. I'm going to do it anyway. They have to. I was just saying they have to. They get the pleasure of listening to this wonderful debate for the whole of the day, but in addition to that, do an enormous amount of work to help us produce all of these amendments, and the small additional side job they have of actually making sure the GLA finances run smoothly. I don't know that anyone else has thanked them. There's an enormous amount of work that they do for all of these amendments. I'm not going to sum up the entire debate in the style of just a minute, but I want to make 3 concluding points. Firstly, Labour's police gaslighting. Okay, yesterday at the Budget Committee, today, when the Mayor was running to be re-elected 2 years ago, a bit less than 2 years ago, and the Labour government was also running for election, it is agreed at that time we had a baseline of 33,888 Met police officers. The figure in this budget now is not 33,888. The Mayor yesterday couldn't even bring himself to say the number. The number is 31,258. I make that 2,630. And so I'd like to formally apologise to the Assembly for saying yesterday and today that we're down by 2,000 police officers. 2,630 police officers since the mayor ran for election. And in that election, he said there will be 1,300 more police officers. Vote for him, 1,300 more. That would have taken us to 35,188. So the real gap, right, is nearly 4,000 between the over 35,000 that he told Londoners there would be if they re-elected him, and the barely 31,000 that he is actually delivering. Okay, every time the Labour Party, they had the gall to stand up several minutes ago, and talk about, cuts to policing. 4,000 is the difference between what they told Londoners they would have and what they will actually have, and that's just so far. Who knows what we're going to have in the remaining 2 years of this term. Second point I would like to make is about the good stuff. There's been some good stuff in this debate, lots of cross-party agreement about funding additional police officers for reasons that I think must now be fairly obvious to everyone. Keeping police stations open for the public, important. Another mayoral manifesto commitment, tragically forgotten, not forgotten by us. Toilets for bus drivers, very important. Fixing Broadmead Bridge. Yesterday and today I've been really pressing the mayor about the fact that multiple parts of the TfL budget are completely unsustainable. The funding for buses, the funding for infrastructure. He is spending money hither and yon, not doing the basics. I am very much in favour of doing the basics. Which brings me to the final point I want to make, which is the most important thing, which is about freezing council tax. This is the one difference between all of these good things that some other budget amendments have and what the Conservatives are offering. We're the only people who are telling Londoners we don't have to keep taking more of the money that we know you already are struggling with. And the argument that it's just a little bit, this is always the argument. This is always the argument. No raindrop believes it is responsible for the flood. But if you go and speak to Londoners, there is a flood of taxes. There is a flood of charges. There is a flood of inflation. Everything is getting more expensive. There is always more and more month left at the end of the money. It is beholden to us to stop making it worse and not to pretend that an extra few quid here or there, if you somehow find a way to make it sound like not that much, is not that much. We all know that it's a lot. It builds up to a lot. It is only the Conservative amendment that recognises that and freezes the mayoral precept for the next year. And I hope you will think that this is an important thing, and I hope you will therefore choose to support our amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Very good. Thank you. Do you want to...
Yeah. Thank you, members. We now move to the votes.
Hey.
We are first of all going to vote on the full...
Some more speeches, Chair.
We are first of all going to vote on the formal budget amendments in the order in which they were moved. Each of those automatically at this stage is subject to a roll call vote. I will therefore call members automatically, alphabetically, with the Deputy Chair and the Chair listed last.
I'm getting a bit tired now.
It's been a long meeting. So we will work through those. Just as a reminder, at this stage, formal budget amendments require a two-thirds majority of Assembly members present and voting in order to be passed. What that means is that an abstention at this stage effectively lowers the threshold for a budget amendment to go through, as a reminder. So, thank you, members. The first vote is on the budget amendment in the name of Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Ahmad, can I have your vote, please?
Against.
Assembly Member Bailey, can I have your vote, please?
For.
Assembly Member Baker.
Against.
Assembly Member Best.
For.
Assembly Member Bakari. Assembly Member Clark.
Against.
Assembly Member Cooper.
Against.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
Against.
Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Georgiou.
For.
Assembly Member Hall.
For.
Assembly Member Harani. Assembly Member Mahfouz.
Against.
Assembly Member McCartney.
Against.
Assembly Member Prince.
For.
Assembly Member Roberts.
Against.
Assembly Member Russell.
Against.
Assembly Member Small Edwards.
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell.
For.
Assembly Member Wilson.
4.
Assembly Member Boff, the Deputy Chair in the Chair.
4.
Assembly members, in that round, 22 Assembly members voted. There were 13 votes against, there were 9 votes in favour, and the threshold was to get 15 votes in favour, so that amendment falls. I now call for votes on the budget amendment in the name of Assembly Member Bakari. Can I please have the vote from Assembly Member Ahmad?
Against.
Assembly Member Bailey. Assembly Member Baker.
Against.
Assembly Member Best.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Bakari.
For.
Assembly Member Clark.
Against.
Assembly Member Cooper.
Against.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
4.
Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Georgiou.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Hall.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Hirani. Assembly Member Mahfouz.
Against.
Assembly Member McCartney. Assembly Member Prince.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Roberts.
4.
Assembly Member Russell.
4.
Assembly Member Small Edwards.
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Wilson.
Abstain.
And Assembly Member Buff, Deputy Chair in the Chair.
Not voting.
Thank you, Chair. I make that vote to be 4 votes in favour, 9 votes against, and 9 abstentions. That means that 13 members were voting, and the threshold was 9 votes in order to pass, which wasn't reached, and that amendment falls. We now come to the vote on the amendment in the name of Assembly Member Prince, which related to bus driver toilets. Assembly Member Ahmad, may I have your vote?
Against.
Assembly Member Bailey.
Against.
Assembly Member Baker.
Against.
Assembly Member Best. Assembly Member Bakari.
Against.
Assembly Member Clark.
Against.
Assembly Member Cooper.
Against.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
Against.
Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Georgiou. Assembly Member Hall. Assembly Member Hirani. Assembly Member Mahfouz. Assembly Member McCartney. Assembly Member Prince.
4.
Assembly Member Roberts.
Against.
Assembly Member Russell.
Against.
Assembly Member Small Edwards.
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell.
Against.
Assembly Member Wilson.
4.
Assembly Member Boff, Deputy Chair in the Chair.
Against.
Thank you. Assembly members, that was 2 votes in favour, 20 votes against. That means that 22 members were voting and the threshold to pass was 15 votes in favour, and that amendment falls.
Very close.
We now move to votes on the budget amendment in the name of Assembly Member Wilson, and this was the amendment that related to knife crime. Assembly Member Ahmad, may I have your vote?
Against.
Assembly Member Bailey.
4.
Assembly Member Baker.
Against.
Assembly Member Best. Assembly Member Bakari.
Against.
Assembly Member Clark. Assembly Member Cooper.
Against.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
Against.
Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Georgiou.
4.
Assembly Member Hall.
4.
Assembly Member Hirani. Assembly Member Mahfouz.
Against.
Assembly Member McCartney. Assembly Member Prince.
4 on that one, please.
Assembly Member Roberts.
Against.
Assembly Member Russell.
Against.
Assembly Member Small Edwards.
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell.
4.
Assembly Member Wilson.
4.
And Assembly Member Buff, Deputy Chair in the Chair.
4.
Thank you, members. There were 22 members voting in that round. 9 members voted for, 13 members voted against. The threshold for passing was 15 votes in favour, and that amendment therefore falls. We now move to the vote on the budget amendment in the name of Assembly Member Russell. Assembly Member Ahmed, may I have your vote?
Against.
Assembly Member Bailey.
Against.
Assembly Member Baker.
Against.
Assembly Member Best. Assembly Member Bakari.
For.
Assembly Member Clark. Assembly Member Cooper.
Against.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
For.
Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Georgiou.
Against.
Assembly Member Hall.
Against.
Assembly Member Hirani. Assembly Member Mahfouz.
Against.
Assembly Member McCartney. Assembly Member Prince.
Against.
Assembly Member Roberts.
4.
Assembly Member Russell.
For.
Assembly Member Small Edwards.
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell.
Against.
Assembly Member Wilson.
Against.
Assembly Member Boff, Deputy Chair in the Chair.
Against.
Thank you, members. 22 members voted in that round. 4 votes were in favour. 18 votes were cast against. The threshold when 22 members are voting is 15 votes in favour. Therefore, that amendment falls. We now move on to voting on the budget amendment in the name of Assembly Member Prince, which related to Broadmead Bridge. Can I have your vote, please, Assembly Member Ahmed?
Against.
Assembly Member Lord Bailey.
For.
Assembly Member Baker.
Against.
Assembly Member Best.
For, with love.
Assembly Member Bakari.
Reciprocal.
Assembly Member Bakari.
Against.
Assembly Member Clark. Assembly Member Cooper.
Against.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
Against.
Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Georgiou.
4.
Assembly Member Hall.
For.
Assembly Member Hirani. Assembly Member Mahfouz. Assembly Member McCartney. Assembly Member Prince.
Forever, Emma.
Assembly Member Roberts.
This is all terribly nauseating. Against.
Love.
Assembly Member Russell.
Against.
Assembly Member Small Edwards.
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell.
4.
Assembly Member Wilson.
4.
Assembly Member Buff, Deputy Chair in the Chair.
4.
There were 22 members voting in that round. There were 9 votes in favour. There were 13 votes against. It would have required 15 votes in order to go through, so that budget amendment falls. We move to the vote on the final budget amendment, which is the budget amendment in the name of Assembly Member Wilson relating to police front desks. Assembly Member Ahmad, may I have your vote, please?
Against.
Assembly Member Bailey.
4.
Assembly Member Baker.
Against.
Assembly Member Best. Assembly Member Bakari.
Against.
Assembly Member Clark. Assembly Member Cooper.
Against.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
Sorry.
City Hall, London.
The reform one, not the best.
The
not
budget
best.
amendment from Assembly Member Wilson on police.
Okay,
counters.
against.
Against. Assembly Member Garrett. 4. Assembly Member Georgiou.
4.
Assembly Member Hall.
4.
Assembly Member Hirani. Assembly Member Mahfouz. Assembly Member McCartney. Assembly Member Prince.
4.
Assembly Member Roberts.
Against.
Assembly Member Russell.
Against.
Assembly Member Small Edwards.
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell.
4.
Assembly Member Wilson.
4.
Assembly Member Bath, Deputy Chair in the Chair.
4.
Thank you, members. There were 22 members voting in that round. 9 members voted for, 13 members voted against, and it would have required 15 votes to go through, so that budget amendment falls. Can I confirm if any member wishes to move any further formal budget amendment? Right, I can
Yes,
see Assembly Member Roberts indicating, and I'm now going to ask the Assistant Clerk to circulate the budget amendment. That comes after amendments, Assembly Member. Yeah.
Amendments first.
Can we have a brief adjournment to be able to read it and decide how we're going to vote? And a comfort break?
I think 5 minutes break to read the amendment.
Returning to the chamber, please, members, at 4:15.
Thank you.
Could we burn the...
Oh, yeah.
Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for staying with us. As you said, they've gone for a little break for a moment. We will stay here. Well, excuse me. We're going to carry on. We'll still be here. Thank you for your patience. And as soon as they come back, we will join them. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. I'm shattered now. Right. Thanks for being patient. We're going to be back a bit sooner than expected, okay? So stand by. We'll be back within 60 seconds, I believe.
Right, people have had the opportunity of reading the amendment. If we could now I'll now ask for Assembly Member Roberts to propose the budget amendment.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, I want to thank Assembly Member Bess and the Conservative Group for joining together with the Lib Dems to protect access to policing across London, because unlike other members of this Assembly, we don't believe in being partisan on something which is of vital interest to Londoners across the capital. It's vital that Londoners know that their representatives are working together on this at this critical moment, because as things stand, on Saturday, just 2 days' time, police stations across London will lock their doors against the public. Front counters at Kensington, Harrow, Wimbledon, Chingford and Twickenham, among others, will close entirely. Elsewhere, opening hours will be cut, and overnight access in a city of 9 million people will be reduced to just 2 stations, one of which, Charing Cross, as we have all seen, is rife with misogyny, racism and excessive use of force. And that's why last month the Lib Dems proposed a £7 million a year pause to all closures and reductions, an opportunity to keep our police front counters open and for the Mayor to maintain his manifesto commitment. But it was rejected, voted down by Labour, voted down by the Greens. And even though last September the Cross-Party Police and Crime Committee, every party represented, wrote to the Commissioner in total agreement, and I quote, "We do not agree that this is the right way to achieve the efficiencies and savings demanded of the Met," and we all agreed to that. When it came to actually acting on it, to allocate the funding in the budget to keep them open and prevent irreversible harm, Labour and the Greens chose not to. Now, in terms of the Green Group, I know Assembly Member Garbett has raised this repeatedly, that you've also got serious concerns about the impact on the most vulnerable Londoners, and I know you share our concerns about how little evidence has been represented. But what I don't understand is why, despite all of that, you still have blind faith in the Met's assertion that even if they had the funding, they would still shut down front counters because they don't think we need them, even though in the Met Plan for London, version 1, they thought that there was a need for a front counter in every London borough. It was in the Met Plan for London 1. I'd welcome the Met's perspective if they were able to provide the evidence, but they don't, none whatsoever. We've not seen full data on how front counters are used beyond crime reporting, no comprehensive equalities impact assessment at the point of decision, no credible mitigation plan for vulnerable Londoners, and no proper public consultation. Instead, we are asked to simply accept potentially irreversible closures on trust. And frankly, I think it would be both naive and dangerous to do so. So I hope seriously that the Greens will consider their position today and back this amendment. As for Labour, well, we find barefaced hypocrisy. Yeah. Weapons-grade hypocrisy, I would say. Outside this chamber, their MPs, councillors and local parties launch petitions and campaigns to save police front counters. Yet inside this chamber, where you actually have the power to keep them open, you deliberately choose not to. Too afraid to stand up to the Mayor and vote for what's right. And meanwhile, thousands of Londoners are out there campaigning to stop the closures. And Labour's own representatives have been clear about just how disastrous this move will be. And if you won't listen to me, listen to their words directly. In Harrow, Labour councillors said, and I quote, "Keeping a public-facing police service open to residents sends a signal. Their safety is the police's top priority. Without a front service desk, our elderly and most vulnerable residents will have nowhere to go." Gareth Thomas, Labour MP for Harrow West, called on Sir Mark Rowley to demand it remains open. Dame Siobhan McDonough, MP for Mitcham and Morden, said and I quote again, she completely opposed the closure of the Mitcham counter and was sorry that her campaign to try and keep it open was not successful. Again, I quote, "As I believe the public should be given every opportunity to find a way in which to report crime and seek assistance from the police." In Lambeth, in response to the decision to cut the hours at Brixton, Labour just recently launched an online petition to save 24/7 services, saying, and again I quote, "Brixton Police Station is Lambeth's last remaining police station. A 24/7 front counter is vital for keeping our borough safe, particularly in one of London's busiest town centres, especially with growing evening and nighttime economy." I wholeheartedly agree. And do you know who else wholeheartedly agree by retweeting the tweets to get people to sign that petition? Assembly member Marina Ahmad retweeted the petition calling on the station to remain open 24/7. You have the opportunity to right that wrong this afternoon. There are just many of the statements of whom concern that we've heard from Labour representatives across London, and I agree with every single one of them. So here's the reality. Outside this chamber, petitions, campaigns, statements opposing the cuts. Inside the chamber, a vote against funding to stop them. Sorry, you cannot have it both ways. You cannot oppose closures in public and then refuse to prevent them in here. On Saturday, this becomes real. A survivor of domestic abuse who cannot safely report online. A victim of sexual violence who cannot make a phone call without being in more danger. An elderly resident without digital access. This is the last opportunity to prevent potentially devastating and irreversible change which will matter to all of them. If we do not do anything today, police stations will close their doors because we allowed them to. Not because we lacked the power, but because there are Assembly members in this chamber that lacked the will to use that power. So I ask you all to reconsider. I ask the Greens to remember, whatever the Met may say, the serious impact of this will inevitably have on the most vulnerable Londoners simply cannot be brushed under the carpet and denied. And to Labour, I ask you to find the courage of your own convictions. Your MPs have spoken, your councillors have spoken, your local parties are still out there now desperately campaigning to keep their front stations open. So vote in favour of this amendment. Stand up to the Mayor. Back Londoners. Back your own campaigns. Act on your own petitions. Because otherwise, when these doors shut on Saturday, the public will know exactly who had the power to stop these cuts and who exactly chose to let them go ahead anyway. This really is the last chance for us all to do the right thing. And I urge members of all parties to get behind this amendment and stop these closures while we have the chance. And if it's money which is worrying you, I would simply remind you that over the last week, we have found the Mayor has been able to get about £142 million spirited out of nowhere. He could have found £7 million within that budget to fund the police front counters and fund his manifesto commitment that each and every one of you went and knocked on doors for the Labour group. Knocked on doors, vote Sadiq Khan. We will make sure there's a 24/7 front counter in every London borough. Have the courage of your convictions, stand up to the Mayor and support the amendment. Thank you.
That was wonderful. You should be
Thank you.
Well, it says here on the paper.
If I can now call on Assembly Member Best to second, please.
Could I formally second and reserve my right?
Certainly. Anybody wishes to contribute? Assembly, who goes first? Assembly Member Baker. Assembly Member Baker.
Thanks, Chair. Just to be clear, this isn't a motion about front counters. This is a budget amendment suggesting taking money from one area of the budget and putting it somewhere else. We have supported the, we have been against the closure of front counters. So despite all of Assembly Members Roberts posturing that is the position, and your motion is basically just fantasy. This is the sort of posturing and short-term decision-making we had last time we saw the Tories and the Lib Dems team up. It's almost nostalgic if it wasn't so worrying and hadn't had so much of an impact last time you did it to the country. Cutting £7 million from TfL's staffing budget, simply on a whim, I mean, it's literally just a couple of little... You're cutting £7 million from the staffing budget.
No, we're not. No.
I have read it. It's a recruitment freeze, which means cutting 7 million from the staffing budget. No. Recruitment freezes do not have no impact. Just because you think somebody behind a desk is not doing a job that you value does not mean it will not have an impact on our public transport system. Okay? So how unbelievably backwards that you're prepared to just wipe that out with a stroke of a pen, to be clear, so you can make a political point at the last minute of a budget. You're not serious people, frankly. These are big budgets. You're not serious people. It's political posturing of the worst time, and we won't support it.
Assembly Member Garbett, please.
Thank you. I am deeply concerned about the lack of equalities impact assessment. That's the question that I put to Assistant Commissioner Matt Twist back here in August, when I said that, you know, from my background in the NHS, I know that when you make a decision, you do it alongside an EQIA. You don't make a decision and then produce the EQIA afterwards. The EQIA is meant to inform a decision. So that has been my consistent position from August, that I think that but it's because I deeply think that the Met also do not understand equalities and are not the right people to do this or deliver these supportive kind of services anyway. I think that you've raised Charing Cross, which I think is really interesting, because that is a place where we really saw that the Metropolitan Police, at its worst of its institutional racism, homophobia, misogyny and ableism, and they've spent £90 million trying to improve their culture and their misconduct. So I do think, I'm going to stick to my point that AC Matt Twist confirmed yesterday in this chamber the same statement he made in August, that even if he had this money, he would not be investing in front counters. So I think it's really risky to give the Met another £7 million, which something they haven't done any proper work on, and we know that they're not going to use it for that anyway. So I think this is a really consistent position from us. We didn't back the motion last time. We abstained because we didn't support the calls. So I think I am very concerned about the equalities impacts, but I would like to see the equalities impacts assessment done and then other services funded that can support people properly, because we know women don't trust the Met, so I'd rather see refuges and women's services funded. We know that disabled people don't support the Met, aren't supported by the Met, so I'd like to see disability action groups funded. So I want the equalities sorted, but I don't think the solution is putting 7 million into something that I don't think supports the public, and I don't think the Met are going to spend the money on it anyway. And I agree with Assembly Member Baker that moving this money from TfL with the back office and making back office and efficiency savings in TfL is not the way to fund it either. So we won't be supporting. Thank you.
Assembly Member Turrell, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is an important motion or an important amendment to the budget. As she says, she came in and said, oh, the Labour group support this. Well, if you support this so wholeheartedly, signing your petitions and so forth, where is your amendment to the budget seeking to fund this? The truth is, it's not. It's just empty words from the Labour group. It's about vibe-based politics to say, oh, we absolutely would like this, but oh no, the governor tells us we can't. Because that's true with every elected Labour member of this Assembly. It's taking orders from the mayor, not representing their constituents. These front counters are not just important for people to report crimes at, even if, providing that facility. They also provide a safe haven for people who are in trouble, people who might not otherwise be able to get to their phone, somebody being followed, for example. I recently spoke to a resident who told me about challenging a fare dodger who came out behind them at a train station. The person then, they turned around and said, buy your own ticket. The person then called in their mates with baseball bats, followed them and robbed this individual. They were looking for somewhere to seek a safe haven. And what this does is, in people in those places, like in Bexley-Heath in my constituency, in Bromley in my constituency, the mayor is taking away that safe haven, taking it away from two towns that have a thriving nighttime economy. It is absolutely shameless. And we heard it at the emergency session last year. The Deputy Mayor wanted to tell us how this is a police decision and that the Mayor's just listening. If it's a police decision, then why the hell did the Mayor put it in his manifesto in the first place? He knew the situation of the Met funding and he put it in there anyway. He was misleading Londoners. It's deeply politically irresponsible, and the Labour group should be true to their word. back this amendment and keep these front counters open.
Thank you. Assembly Member Hall, please.
Well, goodness, I completely agree with my colleagues, both of them. And I want to help everybody because actually I found out why the Labour lot don't actually agree with this. If you go to page 2, funding the amendment, it mentions efficiency savings. Now, Labour never, ever approve of efficiency savings. In actual fact, efficiency savings could smack them around the face and they wouldn't understand what it was. And they talk about political posturing. What the hell do you think it is when all these leaflets going out saying, this is terrible, we're trying to save your local police station? What do you think that means? Oh, come on, sign this petition. Let's do all these things to keep the police station open. No. They could actually go and talk to their Labour mayor or their Labour government. But no, they're so used to saying, oh, we're going to do this for you, public. Well, guess what? The public are getting wise to this. The public are beginning to realise that when Sadiq Khan promises more police officers, he doesn't mean more police officers. He means he's going to take them out of one unit and put in the other. And when Sadiq Khan promised that every single borough would have a 24-hour police station open, they're getting to realise that all his promises are not worth the paper they're written on. Just like the Labour leaflets that are going out at the moment saying, we're trying to save your police station. No, they're not. Because if they were, they might talk to some of you to see if you could talk to the mayor, or they might even talk to the mayor themselves. But no, that's political posturing, when they know they're saying they're trying to save something and they're not doing a damn thing about it. I absolutely support this.
Thank you. Assembly Member Bakari, please.
Thank you. I'm going to apologise because I have been up since 4:30, haven't eaten or drunk anything, and I may be a little bit hangry right now, as well as angry. But I am a bit upset and frustrated by this because the amendment very clearly says this is not about job cuts; it's about freezing. And if you're going to argue with me about the word freezing not being a job cut, then I'll argue with you then that the Labour councils are out there delivering leaflets about freezing council tax, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah.
Does that mean that they're not freezing it? Or they're doing something else? Maybe Merton Council right now are actually making cuts in other areas at the moment instead of just freezing council tax. So I'm frustrated, I'm still angry, and I'm also really upset that I'm having to argue with the Greens right now. That's not what I like to do, but I am frustrated with them as well because they say that they are going to be supporting the most vulnerable in London, the disabled, the people who are probably impacted by this, like women who are being abused and have nowhere to go and have only these as an option to go directly to the police stations to report crime. If I had something horrific happen to me, I would have to go all the way to Lewisham or Charing Cross. Now, Charing Cross, I'm not wanting to go there. A Muslim brown woman going to tell them about how I've been treated? No, thank you. So what about me? What about people like me? That is what our issue is. We need to make sure that we have police stations that are accessible to everybody. And that's what this motion is doing and this amendment is doing. It's trying to make sure that we are absolutely fair to everyone. Keep these police counters open. And Labour, stop lying to your residents to say we've saved the police station. You haven't. I'm fed up of these lies. And I'm fed up of the way you treat the electorate and the voters. And guess what? They're fed up of you too.
Assembly Member Wilson, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is obviously a subject that we've spoken a great deal about in this chamber, not just today, but at previous meetings as well. You'll be pleased to know that I don't intend to speak for very long, other than to say, really welcome this amendment, another opportunity for all members here to take that stand and save these front counters, because they are so, so important. I said earlier, it's the issue on which more Londoners have contacted me than anything else, and I'm sure many other members will be in the same position. The police station front counters, they are at the heart of the community. They matter to us, they matter to our residents, and it's incumbent on all of us to protect them. We've had a programme of retreat and retrenchment of the police, of front counters, of police stations over a period of years, over mayors of both political parties. But this is our opportunity to say enough is enough. Save these front counters, save them now. Let's keep them open. Let's do what Londoners want us to do. That's what we're here for.
Assembly Member Prince.
Thank you, Chair. Just say I will be supporting this motion. Personally, I have some issues with the funding source. I'm not sure that's the best place to find the money, but, you know, I can overlook that. And to be honest, even if it's passed, I really don't think that the Met will follow through. You see, the thing is that after having made that manifesto commitment that he will keep open the front counters, Mayor Khan, like Pontius Pilate, has now washed his hands because it's now not his decision. It is now, in his words, an operational decision. So he is saying that it's the Met that made the decision, not him. So he will probably rely on that. So even if we do find the money, I suspect he'll hide behind that. My favourite tune.
It's your play on music, Keith.
I'll name that in 3. So I've real worries that even if we pass this, which of course we won't because Labour will get behind their mayor who lies to the public. Well, no, that's wrong word. No. Who by his own admission, he doesn't always deliver on what he promises at elections. Because I remember once asking the mayor, so if you say something during the course of an election campaign, does that mean that you are tied to it and that you will deliver it? And he said, it depends. So in his own words, he doesn't always deliver on his election promises. So I will be supporting it because I think it's the right thing to do. Lots of questions about it, but let's not worry about that. Let's get it done. Let's put the mayor under more pressure and let's call him out and the Labour people here in relation to the promises that they make and they break at election time.
Thank you. I'd like to contribute now, so to go on to the clock. You know, we've all been to a lot of cheese and wine parties, everyone in this room. We've been shaken the hand of a lot of people. We've gone to constituency dues, we've gone to ward dues, we've knocked on doors. And the reason we've done that is because one day we wanted to be an elected politician so that we could change people's lives for the better, to represent not just our residents, and we all say that, but also our party members as well, who want to hear their voice reflected on the chamber of decision-making bodies. So it comes as a great surprise when people get to this position and then they turn down that opportunity. Even though they have power in their hands, they turn down that opportunity. And Assembly Member Garbutt and Assembly Member Baker are saying what their opinions are, but they are making the perfect the enemy of the good. Oh, we don't want to save them because this particular 0.3% of the staffing budget it's a disaster. This 0.3% of the budget. If you took it from this, everybody will be chucked out onto the streets, homeless and without a job. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And also, Assembly Member Garbutt's point about people like police stations. Now, the fact that we can't micromanage what the police are going to do is another thing. The fact is, if we pass this today with the requisite amount, it will send such a strong message to the mayor and to the police of how much we value those front counters. And I really am looking forward to Assembly Member Cooper presenting Merton Labour's petition, Save Our Police Front Desks. I'm really looking forward to her presenting that to the Assembly when she has the opportunity. I'm really looking forward to Assembly Member Desai coming in with Tower Hamlets Labour Party's opposition to front desk closures, Bethnal Green being one of them. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to James Small-Edwards coming and representing Hammersmith and Fulham. Let's face it, he doesn't represent Westminster very well, but representing the interests of Hammersmith and Fulham, where the Labour Council there is actively against closures. And there they have their selected, elected members who can do their will. But when they're asked, those elected members, they say no. No. What a waste of cheese. What a waste of wine. What a waste of space. And so, you know, perhaps we won't, because they're very timid on the Labour side. They are very timid. They're very frightened to upset Sadiq. And it's a choice between them. Shall I upset my party members or shall I upset the Mayor of London? Well, they've chosen to upset their party members. And I hope their party members are listening. Yeah. I really, really do. Roll on the next elections. I'll now call on Assembly Member Best, as she reserved her right.
Thank you. And I first want to start with the cross-party nature of this and thank Gareth not only for the work here in the Assembly, but as a council leader as well, showing real leadership in doing everything you can do to save your local front desk. Yeah. If only we had the same leadership in Waltham Forest. Unfortunately, the reason we've got one of the only Labour councils with our station closing is because we had leadership that did nothing and said maybe if the front counter was in Walthamstow, it would be a different story. So that's the attitude of our Labour council. So I do congratulate real leadership wherever it lies. Today, the power lies with the Labour Party to actually do something, and not even all of you have to do something, just some of the worst affected. So why don't some of you stand up for your residents in those worst affected areas of these cuts and vote for this amendment? So first of all, we had the contribution from Assemblymember Baker talking about these phantom job losses. The only job losses, the only people at risk are public access officers. Did you not speak to the unions about what's happening to public access officers? Those are real people with real jobs being affected by these changes. Are they not good enough? Do they not picket enough for you? Perhaps if they were out there, you would take note of them. But because they've been dedicated to their jobs, doing their work, getting on with it, do you not care for them? Because those are the real jobs. You're talking about phantom job losses. And the actual real thing you want to protect as well, what's actually going to fund this amendment, is cancelling the internal magazine of TfL, which over 3 years would save us £1 million. But the Labour Party value an internal magazine more than a police front counter that could literally save people's lives, run by the unions, for the unions. They don't care about residents of London. And now I beg you to listen to your councillors, to listen to your MPs that are literally telling you to do something. You have the power. And we heard this bizarre alternate reality where, again, in the speeches, the Labour Party claim that they're against these closures, but they just don't like how we did it. You've had 2 opportunities to vote for amendments to save police front counters today. And not only did you vote against both of them, you haven't brought an alternative. Because if you brought an alternative that was OK with you, I guarantee the Assembly would have voted for it and our front counters would be saved on Saturday. So you don't mean it. It's hollow words and the electorate will see right through it. But this is the crux of it with the Green Party. Every time it comes to the Metropolitan Police, there is nobody more scathing, no more mistrusting. But for some reason, when the Met tell you that they don't want open police counters, you believe them. I just can't get my head around. We are here as elected officials to represent the people, and people tell us they want their front counter open. I'm sure you have heard the same representations. We are here for the people that we represent. We are here to challenge the Metropolitan Police when they make that decision. and the mayor, who, by the way, has turned around and said, not me, Gov, not me, Gov. In 2017, he co-authored a report, MOPAC and the Met, around closures. But now when it's politically inconvenient, because he recognises he literally just promised to have a police front counter 24/7 in every borough, he steps away and says, not me, Gov. Nobody is buying it. The mayor could change this decision in a minute. But if it's too late for him, it's not too late for us. So you guys should stand by your words and do it, because this is serious. The thing that's really winding me up is we talk about the 5% reported crimes. Isn't it important to ask what crimes are being reported? That is the most important thing, because it's the most serious of crimes. It's 14% of rapes, it's 32% of thefts, and it's 38% of violent crime. When something serious happens to people, they want to go and seek sanctuary and speak to an officer directly. That makes entirely complete sense. Perhaps if something's stolen from someone's vehicle or it's a small petty crime, people will be happy to report it on the phone or online. And that's where you scale up the numbers. It really matters the type of crime that's reported here. And it really matters the sanctuary police front counters offer to victims of domestic violence and those that are in coercive relationships, where a local station is perhaps the only opportunity they have to get out. So this is crunch time. This is real. On Saturday, front counter closures will close across Twickenham, Kensington, Harrow, Wimbledon and Chingford. That is really scary to the people of those areas. You can do something about it. And do you know what? If you don't like this, I'm sure we're all happy to wait and hear your alternative. But do something now. Don't just stand on empty words. Do what your councillors and MPs apparently want to do. Take the power that's been invested for you and vote for this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Assembly Member Roberts to sum up, please.
Thank you, Chair. What a time to be alive to be accused by Assembly Member Baker of partisan political posturing.
The irony.
I mean, it would be disobliging if I was to make comments about them not being serious people either, but I think we can make our own jokes about that. This is something which is just going to come down to numbers. We've heard already that, we just need a handful of extra of people to break ranks, to do the right thing. It's disappointing that Assembly Member Plansky wasn't able to stay for the budget setting motion and the various debates that we've had this afternoon. It's unfortunate that Lord Bailey can't be here. People have got busy lives. They have things to do, Lord Duval. But the fewer people who are in the chamber, the easier it is to get the two-thirds majority. So it only takes a couple of people to break ranks from the Labour Party. Just a few. So I want to appeal to a few colleagues directly, see if it's worth it. So Assembly Member Ahmed, just in the last couple of weeks you've been sharing the Lambeth petition, as I've mentioned, calling on the Brixton's 24/7 counter for vital for safety. I mean, you said in an interview, front counters are a lifeline for the vulnerable. If it was true then, why isn't it true now? You could vote for this amendment and make a difference. Assembly Member Small-Edwards, you, in an interview with FulhamSW6.com, said that you were worried that, quote, reduced hours could still affect access. Well, you stand to lose Kensington Church Street, front office and royalty studios. These are the very front counters which were promised to Grenfell survivors. If you take that away from them, how will you face up to them? Assembly Member Cooper, Merton Labour do indeed have a petition going. Save our front counters is the petition. You stand to lose Wimbledon and Mitcham. You know the pressure that these communities face. You know what visible policing means locally. You can do something about it today. And Assembly Member Desai, Stratford will close its doors. You yourself have said we can't put a price on community confidence, and when the original proposals were put forward, you said that you wanted to see a fully published impact assessment before agreeing to any closures. Have you seen the fully published impact assessment? No. Do you still have that belief? It hasn't been published. So how can you possibly vote against an amendment which would save your front counter for at least a year, possibly until the end of the mayoral term? This isn't about party loyalty. is about whether we meant what we said, is whether we really believed all of the outrage that we had in August of last year when we first found out that the original wave was going to close front counters across the borough, across the capital. And then the Mayor and the Mets were able to pull a rabbit out of a hat and keep some open during office hours only. We were angry then, we should still be angry. Because on Saturdays, these doors will close unless we stop them. And if they close, it will be because this Assembly chose not to use the power that has been vested in us. There is still time. Please vote to stop the closures.
Assembly Member Desai.
Sorry, just to get the facts right, the operational station for Newham is Forest Gate Police Station, which is going to remain open with reduced hours. And in Tower Hamlets, and I'll double check this, but the operational station is Bethel Green, and that's going to remain open. In Dagenham, there was a successful campaign led by the local MP, Margaret Milan, and supported by the community. The proposal was to close it, but that's remaining open as well. Okay, so.
It's no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, there's not a dialogue.
It was.
I let Assembly Member Desai speak because it was a point of personal explanation because Assembly Member Roberts had mentioned it, but we're not having a dialogue.
It was about 24/7 police front counters, fully published impact assessment, and they're closing.
I don't think he named you, did he?
I did say with reduced hours.
Well, if you want to do a point of personal explanation, which is to explain something that the Assembly Member said, and to explain that.
Point of personal explanation, the Assembly Member was wrong to suggest that the police stations will not remain open in Wimbledon and Mitcham, which he specifically referred to. They will be remaining open. They will not be. He didn't say anything at all about the front counters will be remaining open. He didn't mention how the length of the hours. I am just saying it's not to do with the police stations closing, which he implied I could save the police stations, which I believe to be an inaccurate statement.
Are the front counters closing?
Yeah. The front counters are not closing
No,
in
I'm
either
not.
of those stations.
I don't want
incorrect.
dialogue. It's not a dialogue, please. We've got to get through this. Now, we now have come to the vote, and I'll hand it over to the clerk.
Thank you, Chair. We now move to the vote on that budget amendment in the name of Assembly Member Roberts. Again, this is a roll call vote, and I will call members alphabetically with the Deputy Chair and the Chair listed last. Assembly Member Ahmad, may I have your vote, please?
I refuse to vote for unspecified staff cuts. Against.
Against. Assembly Member Baker?
Against.
Assembly Member Best?
For, given there's no unspecified staff cuts.
Assembly Member Bakari?
For.
Assembly Member Clark? Assembly Member Cooper?
Against.
Assembly Member Desai? Assembly Member Garbett?
Against.
Assembly Member Garrett? Assembly Member Georgiou?
For.
Assembly Member Hall?
For.
Assembly Member Hirani? Assembly Member Mahfouz? Assembly Member McCartney? Assembly Member Prince?
For.
Assembly Member Roberts?
For.
Assembly Member Russell? Assembly Member Small-Edwards?
Against.
Assembly Member Turrell?
For.
Assembly Member Wilson?
For.
Assembly Member Boff, Deputy Chair and the Chair.
For.
There were 21 Assembly members voting in that round, which means that there would be a requirement for 14 votes in favour for that budget amendment to be passed. There were 10 votes in favour and 11 votes against. That budget amendment falls. If members bear with me, I will just move on to the next section of the meeting. Can I check if there are any more budget amendments? I can see that there are no more budget amendments. No budget amendments have been agreed. I will confirm at the end of the meeting what that means in terms of the remainder of the meeting. We are now going to move to vote on the budget-related motions that have been debated at this time, and that is in the order in which they were moved. There has been a request for a roll call vote on the first of those budget-related motions, which is in the name of Assembly Member Hall, and that related to supporting London's grooming victims. Just to explain that budget-related motions require a simple majority in order to be passed, but are not binding upon the Mayor in the way that budget amendments are. Can I please ask for votes in alphabetical order again? Assembly Member Ahmad, for, against or abstain?
Abstain.
This is, yes, the budget-related motion entitled Supporting London's Grooming Victims, and it's in the name of Assembly Member Hall. Assembly Member Baker.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Best.
For.
Assembly Member Bakari.
For.
Assembly Member Clark. Abstain. Assembly Member Cooper.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Desai. Assembly Member Garbett.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Garrett. Assembly Member Georgiou.
For.
Assembly Member Hall.
For.
Assembly Member Hirani. Assembly Member Mahfouz. Assembly Member McCartney. Assembly Member Prince.
For.
Assembly Member Roberts.
For.
Assembly Member Russell.
Abstain.
Assembly Member Small Edwards. Assembly Member Turrell.
For.
Assembly Member Wilson.
For.
Assembly Member Boff, Deputy Chair and the Chair.
For.
That is 10 votes in favour, no votes against, 11 abstentions, so that motion is passed. Thank you, Assembly members. Right, we now have a number of other budget-related motions to vote on. I haven't had a request for a roll call vote, so these are by simple show of hands. Please do. Thank you, Chair.
Let's go for the first budget-related motion to be considered is the one in the name of Assembly Member Turrell concerning roads. All those in favour of the budget-related motion, please indicate.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in favour, Chair.
Oh.
This is the roads one,
yeah?
Roads.
Right,
yes.
hang on a second.
This is the.
Sorry, all
we'll
those
do
in
it again.
favour.
All those in favour on the
1,
roads.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in favour, Chair.
Thank you. And all those against?
Those voting against are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 against, Chair. That falls.
Thank you. We'll next go on to the budget-related motion on Broadmead Bridge. All those in favour, please indicate.
That is all those in favour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in favour, Chair.
And all those against, please.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 against, Chair. That falls.
We'll next go on to the budget-related motion related to Gallows Corner. All those in favour, please.
All those in favour, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in favour, Chair.
And all those against, please.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 against, Chair. That falls.
Thank you. And finally, the motion in the name of Assembly Member Best concerning the cyber helpline. All those in favour, please.
Cyber helpline, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in favour, Chair.
And all those against, please.
I don't see any votes against, Chair, so that is carried. Thank you, Chair. We have voted on the budget-related motions that have been moved at this stage. Can I confirm if there are any more budget-related motions? Are there any more budget-related motions,
Yeah, I've got a
Assembly
couple.
members?
Yeah, I'm tempted to put
No?
some just to annoy people. Yeah.
Thank you, Assembly Member Roberts. The Assistant Clerk will now circulate that.
Can I ask Assembly Member Roberts to move the budget-related motion?
Thank you, Chair. This really is the Hail Mary. This is the one where we may be able to keep the remaining front counters open, the ones which are going to close. However, it's very difficult to debate a subject relating to front counters when there are Assembly members who evidently don't know what the hell's going on in their patch. Assemblymember Cooper rose to her feet on a point of personal explanation to say that Mitcham and Wimbledon front counters would not be closing. And I repeatedly asked her, and she said, no, they will not close. This will come as news to Commander Hayley Stewart, who just on the 30th of January of this year, wrote, giving a list of all of the operating hours which are going to change, and then claiming that the following front counters will close on Saturday, the 28th of February. Chingford, Harrow, Kensington, Twickenham, Wimbledon, Barking Learning Centre, Church Street, Mitcham, Royalty Studios and Pinner, which, as we've heard already, is a volunteer-based operation. These are police front counters which will close. Not that they will have their hours reduced, that they will close in their entirety. There will be no provision for the members of the public to visit the police station at these spaces. Now, this is going to be far cheaper or far less expensive than £7 million a year. This will be about 1.2 million. Roughly less than 1% of the money that the Mayor managed to squirrel out of his hat only over the last couple of days for his pet projects. You can make sure that these police front counters stay open if you vote for it. But do rest assured, if you don't vote for it, then I know that my colleagues in Merton Lib Dems will be making sure that their Assembly members' vote is front and centre of their local leaflets, that anybody who is seeking a Labour endorsement in any of the forthcoming council elections, which are just a few weeks away, we will make sure that those people who voted against these front counters closing in their entirety, that the voters will be told. So there you are. Please vote for this motion. That is all I require of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly Member Best to second, please.
I think Leonie's powered me off, so...
Oh, is your thing gone on?
I'd formally second and reserve my right, and I won't use it if none of you trigger me.
Any other contributions? Assembly Member Prince.
Can I just call for a recorded vote, please?
Thank you.
Any other members wish to contribute?
Can we just have, I just need to read this. It's like, we literally just had it put in front of us.
Shall we say 3 minutes?
Yeah, that would be...
3 minutes?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Thank you. 3 minutes.
Return it.
So we have in front of us a budget-related motion in the name of Assembly Member Roberts, if you'd like to present that, please.
He's already moved it, Chair. So,
Oh, you moved it?
Yeah.
Seconded, Assembly Member
yeah.
Best. Sorry, we've done that. It was a bit like déjà vu after 11 motions.
Yeah.
I'm so
Assembly
sorry.
Member Cooper's indicated an amendment.
Assembly Member Cooper to move an amendment.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I believe Assembly Member Russell will second my amendment, which is not currently written down, although we can arrange for that to have an adjournment and have that written down. Alternatively, I can just tell you that if you cross out all of the motion down to where it says this Assembly calls on the Mayor to, and then it reads, as it stands on the page, urgently intervene. So the motion would now start. This Assembly calls on the Mayor to urgently intervene to halt all planned permanent closures of police front station counters scheduled from the 28th of February 2026. 2. Publish a full and comprehensive equalities impact assessment and mitigations, including specific analysis of the impact on survivors of violence against women and girls, and everything else on the second page stays as it is. And I would like to formally move that as an amendment at this motion in time. I'm not, even though I apparently have 10 minutes to speak, and I still have, I apparently still have another 8, almost 9 minutes to speak. I feel, as we've had quite a lengthy debate, that I will leave moving the amendment there and ask Assembly Member Russell if she's happy to use her 10 minutes to second.
Assembly Member Russell.
I will second and reserve my
your
right.
Would anybody like to speak ad nauseum about this motion?
Yeah, he can.
We can. We are happy to accept the amendment. So it keeps within that. So that it starts on this Assembly calls on the Mayor urgently to halt all plans. Yes.
So it's an alteration. So
mitigations.
Are members clear what the alteration is? Does anybody want to speak ad nauseum to the motion? I think ad nauseum is not in the actual. Yeah.
She's checking the standing orders for that phraseology,
So very strangely, Chair, you can't technically accept it because alterations aren't permitted. So I think we have to vote on an amendment. However, if I'm hearing unanimity...
Yes.
So I understand Assembly Member Cooper has moved and Assembly Member Russell has seconded an amendment so that what remains before the Assembly to vote on is 3 calls, numbered 1, 2 and 3. Yeah. I'm hearing unanimity...
and mitigations adding into... After,
yeah, sorry, tell me again.
Equality impact assessment.
Yes, yeah.
What?
I mean, perhaps we should have a named
In
vote.
favour of the amendment?
No.
A named vote has already been requested on the substantive.
Yes.
But sorry, could you read me that wording that goes into number 2?
I can, and I'm not calling for a named vote if the mover is graciously accepting
Just
this
as and
everyone
mitigations.
Else. Publish
after.
a full and comprehensive equality impact assessment and mitigations, including etc. etc.
Thank you. Am I hearing unanimity on that amendment?
On the amendment?
Yes.
Right, so that's unanimity on the amendment. On the substantive, Assembly Member Prince called for a... Sorry. So vote on the... Well, so would you like a formal vote on the amendment?
All those in favour?
Okay, all those in favour of the amendment.
All those in favour? All those against?
Juju didn't vote. It's against.
I see that as unanimous because there were no votes against.
Okay.
In terms of the vote on the substantive, Assembly Member Prince requested a roll call vote. Assembly Member Prince has withdrawn that request.
All those in favour of the motion?
As amended?
As amended. All those in favour? All those against?
In that case, that's unanimous, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah.
No.
Please bear with me, members.
Outstanding. Say grace.
Still a little bit.
We have some business to complete.
Little bit left to
Can
go.
I just ask, is that a roll call and
No.
is it in sections?
So, are you invoking the request for an indicative vote on
Yeah,
the...
we did do that last time, and I would prefer. I know that everyone's tied though, but yeah.
So,
On each section.
So there are two There are two things left before we finish this section. The first thing is that any Assembly member can request an indicative named vote, which means 8 roll call votes, on each constituent body's final council tax requirement. And the second thing is voting on the substantive motion. So if Assembly Member Bakari is asking for a indicative vote on each constituent body's final council tax amendment, she just needs a seconder, and then that would be agreed.
She's a seconder.
Can we just vote on the whole thing? Okay, fine. I mean,
I'm in members' hands.
If everyone doesn't want to do it, that's fine. It seems. Don't do it. That's fine. Don't do it then.
Okay, that's withdrawn. That
Okay,
request.
thank you, Chair. In that case, we move on to the vote on the substantive motion. So no budget amendments have been agreed. Therefore, it's a final check. Are there any more formal budget amendments? No. Are there any more budget-related motions? No. In that case, I'm going to put the substantive motion to the vote. This is a simple show of hands. The substantive motion now before you is to approve the final draft consolidated budget for 2026-27 without amendment. Can I see those in favour, please? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 votes in favour. Can I see those against, please? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 votes against. That is carried. So, please bear with me. No budget amendment's been agreed and the substantive motion has been agreed. The Assembly is therefore deemed by paragraph 8.6 of Schedule 6 to the GLA Act 1999 to have approved the final draft consolidated budget without amendment. I believe that concludes the Assembly's consideration of the final draft consolidated budget, Chair. There are 3 final bits of business before the Assembly.
Yes, thank you. That concludes the Assembly's consideration of the final draft consolidated budget. Can I ask the Assembly formally to receive the Mayor's report covering the period from January the 1st to the 12th of February 2026?
Agreed.
Can I ask the Assembly to note that, as previously agreed by the Assembly, all questions submitted at this meeting under the Mayor's question time procedure will receive a written response on the 3rd of March 2026. The date of the next meeting, the next scheduled meeting of the Assembly will be the plenary meeting, which will take place on the 5th of March in the City Hall. There being no urgent business required consideration, I'll bring this meeting to an end. It's been very special. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was very different, wasn't it? Okay. Thank you very much, anyone who's still watching. I think there was a few towards the end. But don't forget, if you're watching this back again, like and subscribe, all that jazz. This stream has been 4 hours, plus I've done the hour and a half earlier. It's been a long day for me. Okay. Please share this out. Much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, we will catch you soon. There's a video coming out tomorrow, which is Friday, the 27th of Feb. London Assembly, the Policing Committee. There you go. All right. Thank you all. Take care. Have a great evening.